I'll start. Call the meeting order of Bristol Selectboard for April 8th at 7:01. Review agenda for additional removal or adjustment of any items per 1 VSA 312. Got anything to add?
Yes.
Jessica?
Hang on a second.
Ellie?
Yes. We need to clarify for items 3 and 4, the number of lots that are on the application. To clarify that number 5 is a water commission item. And on number 6, we're adding another, I think it's number 6, for the small grants proposals, we're adding an additional
I'll call it
subject.
6A then.
No, it'll just be part.
Oh, part of 6?
Yeah, part of
Okay,
6.
that's that
It's
one you
just
sent us
amending
this afternoon, Valerie?
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's the guardrail one.
Yeah.
Okay. Like that, and then, while we're all hats at this now, overview of the Zoom meeting operations and procedures, member rules for participation, mute your microphone, and be recognized by the chair, etc. Public forum, any public forum? I don't see any here, except Sharon there. They could be part of the public or on there. Don't see any. Jessica is zooming in tonight, and Michelle is coming in. She's stuck in traffic up by the Twin Bridge. She is coming here. Department head roundtable. Bruce, you're up. So what? We'll start with you.
As you probably heard, traffic is a little bit slow, but it's moving steady. We didn't have any issues here in Bristol during the eclipse. And
It only took me 15 minutes.
that's not too bad.
From Lincoln Road?
Yeah.
It took me 15 minutes.
Considering other areas are having a lot more of a delay, I think we're very fortunate. Things are moving slow, but they're steady. So
Yeah, no, it wasn't a problem.
You know how impatient our people are.
other than that, all good.
Good.
Good. Alrighty. Has the new fellow started yet?
Oh, yes. Thank you for mentioning that. I did want to say that thank the select board for offering a position to Armin Nukic. He did start. Today's his first day. We are
Way
waiting.
to throw him in it, Bruce.
Oh, that's right. We're waiting for uniforms to arrive, but we're starting all the admin and procedures like that, working on policies and procedures. So yes, he started today, and we're very thankful that he has started.
Good. Good. Anything else for us? Go to the order. Eric,
Yeah,
you up? Rick?
Sure.
Rhonda, what do you got?
hopefully, winter is coming.
Me too.
Uh,
Wasn't like a good shot to get that last little bit of money.
Oh, son of a gun. But anyway, so we started the Notch Road project, grant today. We got one side of the road done. He's got the other side left to do. Shouldn't take him more than 4 or 5 hours, I think, to finish the other side. It's just a little short section. I'm gonna do that on the 11th of this month, so Thursday.
Thursday. Okay.
Close the road again. And that way there, you can just bang it out, you don't have to worry about traffic.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna check with Betcha to make sure that there's no buses run that section. I don't think there is anymore. But I'm gonna check with them to verify, if there is buses that run, then we'll go from 8 to 3. If there's no buses, we'll go from 7 to 4. Just to give them time, she said it should be done way before that time anyways, but.
I mean, knowing the route, you might just ask them, do they have any stops in that area where they could, or if they gotta say, well, you gotta get the upper notch, then they could go down 116.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna call Dee tomorrow and check in with her and see what the
She's
routes
good
are.
about that.
Let's see, did some minor maintenance on the trucks after the storm. Gotta take truck 4 over to Bristol Diesel to get a turbo actuator put in on Thursday.
That's the old village truck or the village.
No, that's the HX, the international.
Okay.
Gale's truck. Gale's truck. It's lacking in power, and took it over there, have it checked out, and it's almost in D-rate mode, not quite. So the actuator's gone, and so they ordered one, it's in, they came in Friday. So Thursday, I'm gonna bring it over Thursday and they're gonna put it in.
Okay.
Oh, and the other thing for you guys to start considering is I would like to start the 4 10-hour days, the first week of May. First full week of May. So just for you guys, something to think about.
I could say that Valerie put that on the agenda for an agenda item. Next meeting. Do you hear me, Val?
Sure. Yep,
Okay.
got it.
Okay,
And that's it.
okay. I just saw the note somewhere here. You had one of the trucks go down. Also the old, was something, I forget what it was. I can't find it real quick. Was it the old village truck, the one that Chris's drives, the plow truck? Did that go down a couple of times? Or no? Am I just thinking about something else?
No, not as far as I know, we didn't have anything go down during the storm.
I know something, no, not during the storm, but something, you had to weld on a nut or something and then they had to repair it again and, or no? I think,
We had to rebuild both of my, truck porters plow adjusters
okay,
for the plows, the adjusting shoes, we had to rebuild both of them.
oh, okay.
And
I see that you said the light is still on, it's the sensor gone, you found out from our last meeting. It was the
Yeah.
sensor on that one light that's still.
Matt's still he's looking for one.
Okay.
He hasn't found one. He can put in a different one that's not gonna be the exact same thing, so I'm not sure if he means a different color, a different style.
We're talking about the lights on Firehouse Drive,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, the one out by the road stays on all the time.
so he's trying to look for the same exact one that's in it.
Okay.
And last time I talked to him, he hadn't found one yet.
Is this a light that wasn't working that we were trying to figure out why it wasn't
Yeah.
working? Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was on the other end.
Okay. Sharon, anything you wanna add tonight for clerk?
Sure, next Monday is tax day.
What? Oh,
Can't
boy.
you postpone that? No. And we're already getting requests that if I'm late, what's my penalty and interest gonna be?
You've only had 6 months to figure it out. Okay.
So Tuesday is the MAUSD revote. So, a lot of stuff going on. Justin's doing well, he's actually taking a fund accounting course from Champlain, so he said now he'll be able to argue with Darlene or Nemrick on stuff that doesn't make sense to him, because the guy at Champlain told him they would tell him how to do fund accounting, and then he could decide which way to do it.
So,
Good for him.
not a, district or their budget vote is in the hall here, though, right?
Yes, it is.
7 to 7.
7 to 7.
One
There'll
paper
be
ballot,
voting
yes or
booths.
no?
Yes or no, yep.
And
And then,
there's a meeting tomorrow night
No tablet, no machine.
for them.
no, they're not doing a tablet, they're just doing hand count, and Chris and, Peter Coffey is gonna take it over and count at the supervisory union afterwards, when it closes at 7.
You got enough help for that? I haven't seen an email come out, so for you.
No, I have 2 people for the afternoon, and I just need 2 people for the morning, check people in, we're not gonna do checkout, we're just gonna do check-in, because you don't have to do checkout. And it's just 1 ballot, so.
Put it over there, right, put it in the box, put it in the pail.
Here's the box, put it in,
Okay,
and that's it, so.
all right. I don't see Brett on, so.
I have a update from Brett. He is unable to attend. He has another meeting this evening. He said nothing significant to mention, just there was, nothing much to report, but a significant incident involving the state hazmat team and the Agency of Natural Resources was one of the things that they worked on most recently.
That was this morning,
Today.
so,
Today.
that was today's.
That was the incident today.
Yeah, I saw it on.
Yeah, so
couldn't-
they're working on that.
Okay. Any other department head around?
Jill.
Jill, yeah, water?
Hey, we're both here. He's just off on the side here. So today the splitter box down at the leach field, which is down Basin Street, was accessed by Clark Wright Septic, and they also did the grease traps, the 4 external grease traps at the restaurant. So I think that's let me see. It's at least I think it's probably the 4th time that it's been done in this fiscal year. 'cause it's every 2 months, so just kind of we're, 4/6 out of the 4/6 of the way through the every 2 month pumping of those structures. So all
The
those
grease
bills,
traps or the splitter box or both?
so they schedule them for the same day, so they come
Okay,
bright and early in the morning. They start at Basin Street so they can get up that big hill without being super full. And then they go and they get all the grease traps in the restaurants that have the outside grease traps. So those other 4 locations, and then get heading to the facility to unload. So that was today. So that bill will be coming in the mail to be handled as voted last summer. Tomorrow we finally get to shut the blow off, so I'm kind of stoked about that. We finally are done having freezing temperatures at night, so that's pretty awesome. And the service line inventory continues. We've probably gotten 15 responses since the bill with the, a little bit more assertive language went out with the service line inventory requests. So people have been, kindly responding, which is great. So we're a teeny bit closer than we were before. So we were at 196. So I'd have to just estimate we're at about 180
that's
remaining.
still to figure out what they got, you mean 180 to figure out?
Mhm. Yep, that have not
The
responded.
600 is, you're, 2/3 away at least.
700
700,
actually.
so yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We're inching there a little bit every single day. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes through the deadline that's on those notices, and then we'll step it up to the next level of fun, which is more in person.
All right. And Valerie, just a question, are we still, the grease traps, is the water or sewer department paying for those, or the individual owners of the grease traps paying that?
The invoices to the individual property owners have not gone out yet, but that will probably happen this week.
Okay,
They're teed up to go out.
good.
Is there any noticeable difference in the grease in the tanks since we've initiated this regular pumping of the grease traps, or is it too minute to tell?
So we take, by permit, we're required to take samples at the splitter box June and September of each year. So since we kicked it up to every 2 months instead of every 3 months, I think it was just September of last year that would have been after the frequency changed. So I've only seen 1 set of samples. So this June would be the second time since the frequency increase that I would be able to tell if there has been any kind of significant lowering. That the September numbers did not look significantly lower to me compared to June.
How did the splitter box look? That's usually where you see the grease, correct?
Pretty gnarly. Pretty
Pretty
gnarly.
gnarly. I mean, worse, better, about the same, you think? I mean, hard to tell. but
Still not drinkable.
Still not drinkable.
It's still, I mean, we skim that every 2 weeks. It's pretty gnarly. It's just pretty gnarly. Grease floats once the water cools down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Jill,
Valerie, that you-
have you been able to purchase that composite tester?
I have it. What I'm looking for is a little bit of advice from Vermont Rural Water's wastewater rider on how to get just the wastewater from one based on where the manholes are. I'm kind of looking for placement. So I'm forgetting his first name. I was speaking with him at the last show that I went to and asking him if he would just spend a part of a day with me to help me get a composite so that I can correlate it to just a location, since the manholes might be gathering more than one business's worth of affluent. So we're finally in the season where we can do it and it won't die, so that's good.
Something that was lingering last year, and you said you guys would get to it in May. Dale reached out to you over on School Park Place or School Street to start that project yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, nothing yet.
Cause that's something we said we'd like to see done in the month of May, correct?
Yes.
You wanted to see it done in May.
Huh?
He wanted to see it done in May.
Right.
I thought they had a tentative
That's a
date
private
set up.
driveway right there that you gotta dig across, so how are we gonna deal with that?
What's that? So I didn't hear just something about a driveway.
I said that's a private section of drive right there, is my understanding, in between the school, street, or Park Place, and doesn't, yeah. there-
I think Carol,
I'm-
I think the
I'm pretty
wells.
Sure
on
Carol
that.
Wells owns that little section of road right there.
Yeah,
We
that
have to
belongs.
put them
it
before
doesn't
we-
belong to the town.
Open that up, don't we?
I thought we were talking about direct mooring or something that he was gonna do.
Yeah, I thought direct boring was mentioned.
Yeah, I would have to look at the notes, but
But
I
it-
thought that's what we had
But
talked
is it,
about.
is it up to the property owner to reach out to Jill and Si? Or the
Gotta find the name.
reverse?
I think, I would say that if it's his water line and it's after the curb stop, that it's his responsibility to get permission to dig on that property.
Okay.
Because we don't own anything.
Right.
Does that make sense to you, Jill, or Si?
Yep, he should. It's just that, we'll have to be present to witness the connection to the curb, and we'll very likely want to replace the curb and the town side to wherever it happens to connect. Whether it connects 2 feet from the curb or 30 feet down to the corner of Park and School, which is maybe more like 50 or 70 feet.
So it's in his court.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, anything else? We good
No,
with the
for now.
order?
We got plenty of other stuff on there for water later today.
Yep. Okay, seeing no other Alan on, Meredith or nobody else? Hi, Jessica. Okay, consent agenda, approval of grant application authorization request, Public Works Department for V-Trans Class 2 roads grant for paving and Moncton Row. And I saw that in Valerie's TA report, how it was broke down. York, you were short some money, I guess, on that grant. Valerie, I guess Valerie, you can fill us in.
Well, the idea of the consent agenda is to,
And read them all.
Yeah.
yeah, well, and deal with them all in a single motion, unless you want to take one off for discussion and vote on it separately.
Well, you can read them all and then we can ask questions.
Okay.
Right, we can.
Okay,
discuss it.
number 2 in the consent agenda, approval letter of intent to participate in the fiscal year 2025 V-Trans Municipal Roads Grant in Aid Program. Number 3, approval use of parking spaces on Park Place for ELP clothing swap on the town green for Friday, April 12th and Saturday, April 11th. And that's all
April
Saturday,
13.
13, excuse me, April 13th.
I make a motion to approve all 3.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, approve all 3 in the consent agenda. Any questions now from the board or any comments from administration?
Yeah, I wanna, the Moncton Road, didn't we just pave that damn road?
We shimmed it
So
because
now,
we had a couple of spots that were really bad. What?
where are we going from, at what point to what point?
Bristol Pond and then coming towards Bristol a mile. So that'll put you right around, on the flats there by Dave Merrill's.
Mhm.
It's been how many years? Pete paved that, correct?
When I first started here.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Pete did that,
Seems
like,
like we just did that.
We did, we shimmed it. on
we
that
shimmed
north
it.
end.
One of the things we talked about was that we've been putting down 2 inches of base and 1 inch of top, and Eric and I have had the conversation about changing that up a little bit, because if there's any imperfections in the base level, you end up with and what's happened is that the layers have separated. And where they've separated, it's like, what, half, 3/4 of an inch?
Yeah, it's thin.
So the idea is to maybe go with a little thinner base coat and a little thicker top coat.
Okay,
So we still get the same amount of pavement, but we have more,
almost half and half.
Does that change the costs in terms
I
of
don't-
materials?
believe it does, doesn't
It
it?
might. It shouldn't change a significant lot if it does at all.
Okay,
And the other thing too to consider being that the amount of money that it is for grinding and then paving is, to stay within, try to stay within the grant allowment is to maybe grind it and then put the base down this year. Let it ride a couple years and then put the top on in a couple years.
Will the grant cover the waiting a couple of years, or is the grant's only gonna have enough?
Well, you can apply for another Structures 2 grant every year if you wanted to. And the Structures 2.
Cause we applied for this 3 times in a row, correct? Has this been on here a couple of 3 times?
Yeah, but we've been denied.
Denied.
So this will be, I think, Val can correct me if I'm wrong, I think this will be the 3rd time that we've applied for it. And we don't know if we've getting it, we don't know if we're gonna get it or not.
I
But,
guess my question is, so if you only put the base in,
yeah,
is that all they're gonna pay for?
if we get the grant, we can do whatever we want with the money.
Oh,
I'm just
if you
trying
put
to
a
stay-
number, you put a grant number.
Yeah, the structure grant is a certain amount of money anyways.
Okay,
So, and I'm trying, because of the way the price came back, is maybe cutting out the top coat and just doing the base to try to stay closer to the grant amount, so that way we're not so far over that we would have to take a lot out of, capital roads or
capital
whatever,
paving, yeah.
keep it down.
So will
Just to
that?
clarify,
speed up?
this is a class 2 roads grant, and it does go over more than one construction season. So I
Right.
don't have the dates off the top of my head, but it is possible to do part of it this year and part of it next year, but
Okay.
not 2 years, under the same grant.
Eric, that being of course, a main thoroughfare for people going to the work in the mornings, I know it's quite busy road. Will only putting the base down hurt the quality of cleaning it up in the winter time?
No.
No?
Cause it'll be all smooth. It won't have any wheel ruts or anything like that.
No, but
Yeah,
it would
it'll
be a little grittier. or
It'd be more coarse.
More coarse, but it won't.
No, it won't, it should not affect as far as the way the salt works or plowing or anything like that.
Okay,
Hey, we got an engineer, we could ask his thoughts. He's also a resident, so.
Am I right, Chris?
he's here for the other.
I-
one.
I don't think it would affect that for your winter salt. It might even hold it in there because you got more voids.
Right, that's a good point.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Okay, so this is 200,000 with a 20% match. And then we're looking at estimated cost of 382 with 41,100 coming from town labor and materials. And then the balance would come from the capital roads paving reserve fund.
Okay, let's get my paperwork. Alrighty, and then on number 3, just,
I have a question about that one too.
that's up on the backside, is that gonna affect the dentist who, that business uses the parking there for their clients also? They're gonna not unload on Fridays until,
Well, Friday, the dentist is closed.
he's out closed on Friday, okay, so it won't affect them. I just would like to make sure no vehicles are driven on the park to unload.
No, if you read the emails, Jill,
I
Merrick
didn't.
told her that, but they did ask, to park the trailer, and she says park the trailer on the West Street side of the park the night before we run the event. She's really talking about
On the front of the.
the front of the park, right?
Yeah.
Towards the post.
And that's where she wants the rainbow ice. Cause to me, the west side is by the church.
Yeah,
So they're gonna put the trail, how come they put the trailer in the front and not in the back?
Mhm.
I mean,
yeah,
I
it
don't
would
know.
seem like everything would be done on Park Place.
Yeah, you would think they'd want them on the backs, that way it keeps them out of the road. And it gives them more
That's
parking.
my
on the front.
understanding of what they meant,
What's that, Val?
that they would be all along Park Place, facing into the park, into the town green.
Okay, cause her emails say street side. And where does the Bobcat put their trailer?
Put theirs on the front side.
Front side, cause that's what it's saying, can they have rainbow ice, like the same place that Bobcat puts their trailer? So I mean, I guess I would say I'd rather have them on the backside of the park.
They may just not have the
Yeah, I-
close enough power, that's all I'm thinking,
Oh, yeah,
possible. They have
There's
to,
power on the backside as well.
it's,
I mean, if you're talking
Is it
rainbow
close?
ice and kids, I just don't want them out in the road.
Yeah,
Well, I think the thought was they'd be standing between the sidewalk and the green belt.
Right,
And they'd be up 8 inches off the curb to the service window. Service window's gonna face the north.
Yeah, I realize that, but
Yeah, I agree with you,
So
Michelle.
all they're looking at is putting the
no.
ice there?
No, they want their trailer so they can unload the clothes, and I assume they're gonna leave it there, so they can load and unload the clothes. Like, cause they're
And
gonna be
carry
there
them all the way
Friday and
across the
Saturday.
park?
I don't know where they're setting up, I have no idea.
Well, this says the backs, I mean, this is Park Place, that's not the front side.
Rainbow Ice wouldn't be in the road or the parking area, I would think they would be on the grass because it's setting up a tent. They don't have a truck or anything like that,
Oh,
do they?
I don't know.
Or maybe they do.
I don't know, she just
I've
says.
always only ever seen her as a tent setup versus a truck.
Yeah, I agree,
Even
if
over
it's the
when
same
they're in-
person, anyway.
Yeah, even if, when they're over in New Haven near the general store, it's still a tent over there, so I assume they're gonna be on the grass, so maybe we need a little bit more. I don't see any issue, which, yeah, it'd be nice to have clarification of where they wanna be.
Unfortunately, the event is scheduled for this coming weekend.
Yeah, well, I think they're gonna get wet. Let's see, it says, could I have a food truck parked the way Bobcat Catering used to park on the parking space street side?
A food truck,
Yeah.
Not a tent.
So.
not a ice, not
Yeah,
a flavored ice. It sounds like there's way more to this than just the clothing swap.
Yeah, it is, well, it's just a rainbow ice, and it sounds like she's gonna have a band or somebody playing music. Because she asked about that too, so.
so what's your main concern about
Yeah.
the West Street side?
I would just prefer things on the back, keep the front open for parking and let them be on the back, so that limits the cars driving around.
Okay,
That's just what I was thinking, but I have no idea where they're setting up. I mean, I assume they wanna be close to the front. So
Yeah.
people can see it driving by,
right, I know,
so therefore I would not want the trailer there to block all of that.
yeah, cause looks like a fairly large trailer.
Yeah.
It is.
I know that when the farmer's market did food trucks, it was on the west side.
Mhm.
And it was facing towards the green space and the sidewalk. And, it didn't seem to be any concern about in terms of traffic there. But it wasn't taking up as much space as, their trailer, it looks like, from at least the picture in the email.
Yeah.
It's quite large.
Okay, what do you,
Is that a clothing trailer or is that a food trailer?
No, that's the
That's the-
clothing
that's the
trailer, that's what
clothing
they,
trailer.
the
Yeah,
three
and
clothes they
This
just passed out.
says the back and you're saying that says.
Yeah,
maybe the food trailer on the front side towards the post office side, I call it the West Street.
Well,
and the-
I mean,
And the
I
clothing
guess,
trailer on the back.
I don't have a problem with them doing this, I think we
Yeah.
need to clarify, is it really gonna be a rainbow ice truck, or is it just a tent?
Yeah.
And she wants to have her stuff parked there, I mean, cause it's just her car, that she grabs all her stuff out, and that's fine if she wants to be up on the front. Their trailer piece, I mean, I would think they'd want it on the back so that it wouldn't block parking spots for people in the front, but.
So what's your pleasure, people? Do I hear that we're not against them using the park, we just like a little clarity on where
Well, what we're being asked to prove is on Park Place, not on, for as
Yeah,
far
so
as the clothing swap goes.
6 parking spaces on Park Place to set up the trailer and for a vendor to provide rainbow ice. So if that's what we're approving, I'm fine with that.
Okay, well, if that's what.
But that's not kind of what the email says, so we just need to make sure that they're clear, they're parking on the back of the park, not on the front.
Okay,
Okay. Any more discussion on consent agenda? Hearing none, I'd entertain motion board,
No, you can have a motion and a
Yeah,
second.
Motion. To consent agenda.
so we just need
All
to,
you gotta do
We
is
just need a
vote.
vote.
Okay, just a vote?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm sorry, Val, you say aye, Jessica?
Yes.
Okay, any abstain? Hearing none, okay. Basin Street Improvement Project Presentation or of alternatives. I think Chris is here for that. Chris,
I
you're
am.
up.
Do I have
Chris, I will
permissions to
make you a,
share?
I was gonna
yeah,
co-host. You Thank you to share.
Make a co-host. So Chris, you are now a co-host. I think. Yes, you are.
Can you see that? Yep.
Yeah,
looks like you
That
can.
doesn't look steep at all.
No, not from that angle.
Nope.
Pictures.
Nice.
Good evening, everyone. I think everyone knows me except for Jessica. I believe you're new to the board. I'm Chris Lathrop. I am a local resident, and I'm here on behalf of Du Bois and King to present the alternatives. We were scoped to develop 2 alternatives for improvements on Basin Street, as well as a slope stability issue on Main, and correcting some of the drainage and stormwater. So the purpose or why I'm here tonight is I'm going to give you a quick overview of the project, where we are in the project development process, present the purpose and need that we came up with after soliciting and getting feedback at the local concerns meeting that we held back in October, present the 2 alternatives, and then open it up for the board's questions. The real purpose for the evening is to show you these alternatives and then either send me in a different direction or approve one of them to progress forward. That's really the point that we're at in the process. So, as most of you are well aware, the project area involves Basin Street. The concerns there are obviously the steepness of the hill, which we can't do anything about, but the main concern is at the top of the hill where it intersects Main and East. It's very steep. It's not a flat platform for cars to actually stop, see properly, and to be able to easily pull out. You're still on a steep grade, as well as the sidewalk goes across there, or crosswalk, and that should be a maximum of 2%, and currently it's about 20%. So that's one of the things we're trying to address. And then are you guys able to see my mouse?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I had a meeting the other night and no one could see it, so that was a little difficult. But the area in here, as you know, is an unstable slope. Stuff's been dumped over there over the years, concrete sidewalk and other debris. And between just being unstable and the being an outlet to some of the village's drainage system there, that's been a chronic issue from a slope stability standpoint. And then the third component is stormwater, to fix the drainage in that area, but to also to reduce the stormwater and latent silts and stuff that get down to the ditch below and down into the river. And so in addition to the geometrics and stuff above, we're going to be looking at ditching and perhaps putting in stone riprap along this ditch as part of the stormwater piece. So quick background, as most of you are aware, back in 2008, I think this started, and at that time, Green Mountain Engineering did a evaluation of both the roadway and the bank stabilization. They followed up with a limited updated study in 2019. And then in 22, the town went after a grant funding and was awarded a Transportation and Alternatives Program grant that spring. In addition, the town applied for and was awarded Downtown Transportation Grant and then a Clean Water Initiative grant. So those three grants are the partial funding of the project. As part of the TAP grant, it comes with this nice little list of things that you have to do, process. That started out with applying for the grant, being awarded the grant, being authorized to hire the MPM and the engineer. We initiated the project, and then back in October, we held the local concerns meeting where we solicited concerns, etc., from both the property owners, the town in general, and this board. At which point we took that information and pulled together, developed a purpose and need statement, which I'll show in a moment. And then that was submitted to VTrans. So once that occurred, we developed the two alternatives that we were scoped to do. And so tonight I'm here to show you those. Once a preferred alternative is chosen, we will develop that alternative to conceptual plans, which will be then provided to the town and VTrans for review. At that point, there'll be a public meeting, one more public meeting to just present what it is, have any last minute comments, which the board can, from the town folks, which the board can choose to, address or not. But that will serve as the basis of the design and the limits of the project so that we can move it to the NEPA permitting process, which will take 6 to 9 months. At which point, once that's approved, we can get through the various level plan developments, being 60% plans, 85% plans, then contract plans and construction. So as I noted, we held the local concerns meeting in October 16th. I presented an overview of the project and requested feedback from the public on issues and concerns. Several of the abutting property owners did attend and provided input. Some of the concerns raised were obviously the steep road and sidewalk grades at the top of Basin Street, drainage concerns, the slope stability along Main Street, property owner impacts, as well as concerns on, how am I going to maintain access to my property when it's under construction. So with that information, we came up with a purpose and need. I'll just read it quick. The purpose of the project is to improve and enhance safety, mobility, connectivity, and universal accessibility for pedestrians and vehicles using Basin Street, as well as to improve stormwater drainage in the areas to mitigate chronic erosion and sediment transport. So those needs were determined to be Basin Street is the sole access to 6 residents and Bristol's municipal septic system. There's no feasible alternative access to this area. The current drainage patterns and the lack of proper stormwater collection systems have resulted in chronic erosion of the embankment at the intersection of Basin Street with Main Street. Untreated stormwater currently discharges into New Haven River. Basin Street is supported by retaining walls along both sides of the road. Both walls are in poor condition. One is failing. Continued deterioration of these walls will lead to eventual loss of Basin Street. The slope supporting the south side of Main Street is unstable. Sloughing of the slope has required the town to routinely repair and reconstruct the roadway, shoulder, sidewalk, and guardrail at the top of the embankment. As I noted earlier, a level landing for cars to safely stop and restart from Basin Street does not currently exist at the intersection with Main. The Basin Street approach to Main Street is an uphill grade of approximately 20%, is particularly hazardous in the wintertime. And lastly, the crosswalk crossing Basin Street along Main Street has a cross slope of approximately 20%, exceeding the ADA recommended 2% maximum cross slope, thereby creating an unsafe condition for pedestrians. Valerie asked me to provide a schedule, which is probably hard to see because it's even hard to see here, but we're basically at the development of alternatives presentation. From there, as I noted, once we have direction as to which alternative to proceed with, we'll proceed to conceptual plans, which we can do over probably 4 to 6 weeks. And then it'll be in VTrans hands for review, as well as the town for 4 weeks. At the end of that, we'll identify the cultural and natural resource impacts, pull together the NEPA application and submit, and then Unfortunately, that takes 6 to 9 months these days, these days. So in the schedule, I've assumed 7, which takes us out to the end of April of 2025, at which point we can develop the preliminary plans, move into the right-of-way phase. Once the right-of-way and easements are acquired, we can move into final design and then contract plans, and finally, if all goes well, construction in 2026. So the 2 alternatives that we developed, one is an on alignment adjustment of basically the profile. So that's this here. What's in gray would be the affected profile, or sorry, the bituminous that would be affected and repaved. Kind of made the assumption that we'll do at least half the road of Main Street or East Street as well, since we'll be tearing up pieces of it to put in new drainage, etc. So, and I guess I'll note, this, as I'll show in the typical section, assumes this green area is a 3-to-1 slope off the back of the sidewalk. There's a panel behind it for guardrail, but then it'd be a 3-to-1 slope. We can steepen that up based on the geotechnical report that we received. We can do a 2.5-to-1 slope, which would reduce the impacts a little bit. At the bottom here, we're suggesting to put basically a retention ditch. It's nearly flat, that would catch the water, penetrate down into the ground, or if it's under heavy events, would run towards this catch basin that we're proposing. And then this will also be sloped down and will be caught by the creating a catch basin and constructing a catch basin at the end of that existing 36-inch HDP pipe. And I guess I'll just note that we're proposing to put a new catch basin in front of Bristol Financial, a new culvert across Main Street, new structures here on this side, and then those will all feed into one probably 36-inch pipe down to a basin in mid slope, which will continue down to these two, as well as there's an existing pipe that comes across Main here. We'd be creating a DI or a manhole there and piping that over to this structure as well. So all water in here would come down through this pipe and then into the 36-inch. So as we noted, the retaining walls are failing, and we are proposing to raise the profile. So because of the profiles raising and the retaining walls are failing, we're proposing to actually just do stone slopes off the sides of the road. So that's what's shown here. Currently, and we can change this, is I think the existing road is about 18 feet wide. What we're showing here is about 22 feet wide, plus gravel shoulders for the guardrail that will be required if we do 2-to-1 slopes.
Guardrail just on Main Street, you're saying guardrail also down?
Guardrail down Basin Street.
Basin Street.
Yeah.
There's a makeshift guardrail there now. It's just black iron pipe.
Yeah.
I have seen that, yeah.
So this is the Basin Street typical, and then this is would be driving east on Main Street. This would be creating the new sidewalk. Currently I'm showing 11-foot lane, a 4-foot shoulder. We can certainly make that wider if you want and make a smaller green strip. I think it currently shows 7 feet. Sidewalk, and then enough platform behind for guardrail. Because last meeting, it made it sound like you guys want to continue to dump snow down over the bank, and Probably should have guardrails so your loader doesn't go down over the bank. But here's where I'm saying I'm currently showing a 3-to-1 slope, but we can steepen this up without going to stone, and we could steepen it up even more if you would like it stone. But I know in our conversations with the residents down there, they have concerns with how this will be left and what type of landscaping and what type of grass and that sort of stuff. So all things to consider as far as what we end up with for a slope. But a 3-to-1 slope or a 2.5-to-1 grassed slope has been determined to be stable with the soils out there.
Is there any advantage to having the grass slope as far as cleaning the stormwater?
Well, I mean, with the stone, it'll percolate down through probably quicker, but yeah, grass. I mean, grass typically is going to clean that but it's got to be much shallower slope, right? If it's just running down over it, it's not gonna, yeah. So I see if I can switch documents here for just a second, because I realized I didn't provide oops.
So Chris, can maybe I'm confused. You're saying we can go from a 3-to-1 to a 2-to-1, whatever. But if you go to 2-to-1, you need to have gravel?
No.
2.5-to-1, we don't need to. If we went to 2-to-1, I would say yes, we would.
Yeah.
So right now with the 3-to-1, are we having grass or are we having gravel?
Grass.
Grass. Yeah.
Okay.
And we can
One thing
steepen
to
it.
think about, to consider with a grass slope is maintenance. And either being prepared to mow it or somehow keep it cut back, or expect that it's going to grow up and over with other things besides grass.
Right. And the residents asked to, and we can do this, it's just a little early in the process to be determining that, is talk to our landscape architect at what type of seed formulas, et cetera, would be, beneficial for not, making it look like a field, lower growing grass.
But a 3-to-1 would be mowable.
Yeah. Yep.
But then somebody would have to mow it
Oh, exactly.
Well, we have somebody who mows
or something.
the field, right?
Chris, could that be a 3-to-1? Could that hold like, evergreen trees or things of that nature
I would. Yeah, I'd have to. Well, I don't know. I have to confer with our landscape architect. It seems steep for that, but that's not to say we couldn't like put a bench in halfway down through either, right? You could come down and then put a small bench for tree plantings and then steepen it up again.
And then do you think, because most of the water, I think from Main Street, at least up to the bakery, it all heads that way, and down Mountain Street, I believe, comes down that way, goes into that 36 inches. 36 enough for these storms that we're having now?
I actually think the pipe, I put that pipe in down at the bottom. I almost think that's a 54, isn't it?
Where?
At the bottom of Basin Street, that.
I measured it. I measured it the other day as 36.
Well, we took, I want to say we took 4 foot out of there and we put 4 foot back in.
Because if I remember.
If you measured it, you measured it.
I remember the big dig when they came down North Street. I realized that's coming all the way from the elementary school, all that water that goes down South Street. And I believe that was a 48-inch pipe.
It's a 50-inch pipe.
Or 50-inch pipe.
50
I'm just
or
wondering if
60.
36 is a hydraulic test been done, or whatever you call that test, of all the water, because I know it comes off from Mountain Terrace where Ian lives. That comes down that street and underground. And I'm just wondering if 36 is enough, Chris.
Well, that's existing.
Okay.
And that's where all this will be coming into, and it goes there today. So I would say yes, unless they're having issues today.
Not today, it was sunny.
No.
I
don't know.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yes, no, I know.
We would want to future-proof it, since we're doing this project and tearing everything up. You'd obviously want to future-proof as much as possible. So I think we would sort of might reconsider that size, perhaps.
I mean, currently it's open structure from where it comes out of the pipe coming from Main Street and where it comes out of the pipe, it's open structure. So if there's an issue, I'm guessing we're probably losing some water before it gets to that pipe.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
I neglected to put this in my slides, so I've switched documents here, but this is the current profile that we're proposing. So obviously the dashed line is the existing, up here at the top, it's steep, 20%. So in order to, both for ADA compliance, as well as to have a level platform at the top, we're doing 2% off the edge of travelway out, and then down at 20%, which basically mimics the upper part. So as you see, it's just as steep, and it's steep longer, which we can also look at taking the curse off a little bit and just starting early. But currently, this revision to the profile, I'll say, occurs about 50 feet from the first driveways down at the bottom.
So we could flatten it a little by going a little further. That's what you're saying?
We could yeah. So I don't know what that would get us. I don't know. We don't want to bring it right down to where their driveway starts, but it won't change much. 1% or 2% perhaps, but yeah. There is some concern. I forget her name. Jill had some concerns with the sewer trucks coming in and out of here. Right now, we have a very small vertical curve. So perhaps we need to start this profile, a little bit before and extend this 2% further, and then just have that rounded off so that we don't have trucks catching the bottom.
Hung over the lip.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric is on this time. He's highway. Eric would be able to kind of envision this more. Can you picture yourself with a tandem truck and a trailer on it getting in and out of there and not having anything catch on that bend from 20 to 2?
Eric, that's a question for you.
It'd be tight with a jack. Lowboy, no way you're gonna get down there with a lowboy. Peter knows that as well.
Yeah, my bigger concern would be if there were ever to be upgrades to the sewer system down Basin Street and a construction crew needed to get in, they would probably be bringing, a dump truck, an excavator, etc., to possibly like replace tanks, whatever it might be, replace lines, bigger upgrades in the far future. And then currently, like we had a septic truck in there today, that's every 2 months. There's the full septic pumping. That's like twice a year when they're really, really heavy. They're fully loaded. So I just was kind of wondering if you guys could envision, what does it look like with a truck with a trailer with equipment on it? And what does it look like with, like a single bodied truck that's maybe 40 feet long? Is there any worry about things dragging?
I don't think I'd worry about the equipment trailer. Every time that I've worked down there, I've unloaded up top and drove down. I don't see anybody. You're not going to be able to turn a trailer around down there anyway.
Good point.
So they're probably going to unload. I mean, I always unloaded right in Main Street.
Yeah, just
walk down the road. So as far as any construction going on private property or in the septic area, we would just have to understand that, that machine is going to walk down the pavement, which as long as it's not 90 degrees, it's not going to hurt it.
Right. Okay, perfect. Those were just my worries, was can things still land on that flat spot and not get bottomed out, and how would future projects get done at sewer if they couldn't get in? But that makes good sense. It would just be used as an equipment pathway and not a big truck pathway. Perfect.
As far as how long is that 2% stretch, Chris?
So from the PVI here to the travelway is 20 feet. And then we have just a short vertical curve in there. I can look if that can get a little bit bigger, but the reason we need to keep the 2% to the back of sidewalk, right? And that's
Right.
about 15 feet back. So like I
And
said,
I think we probably want that far enough so the average car can set
right,
a set
right.
on the flat. And then maybe if you could soften that just a little bit for the bigger trucks, but I don't, if you got a 30-foot long truck, the tail end of it's gonna be hanging over that. Either that or you gotta stick your nose out in the street.
But you also
Right.
gotta remember to peaker with a plow on coming up out of there, with the plow in the front and the truck, you're gonna be beyond that 20-foot mark.
Yeah.
What's the possibility, Chris,
Well, the
of
20 feet is to the back of the sidewalk, right? Or the back of the crosswalk, sidewalk, whatever. So you still
It's-
got how many feet from the crosswalk to the travel lane? Is that what he's saying? Or
How
it
far is
20
that?
feet
Is
to the
it 20 feet from the white line to the back of that curve, or is it 20 feet from the back of the sidewalk to there?
The sidewalk is 15 feet back from the back of
So it's
sidewalk's
20 feet
about
to the travel lane.
yeah. So
So
this
there's no
vertical
extra.
curve, right.
what's the possibility, Chris, of putting that at 3%? Maybe taking that little,
You can't. You
Well,
gotta keep it 2% for the ADA
Yeah.
for the crosswalk.
yeah, the original 2008 study had it at 5%, but I don't think you can do that with a straight face because you're crossing the crosswalks there.
right?
Yeah, and we shouldn't be building something new that isn't in compliance.
No.
Right, right.
So I thought it was just a flat where the vehicle's gonna wait, and the 2% was, crosswalk was in front of the bumper, so-called of the 20 feet of the bump, but it isn't.
No.
How far back can you go to change that 20% to make it less steep?
I'll have to look at that. I mean, I wouldn't want to go. This is the Weanings driveway. Yeah.
Weanings, yeah.
Yeah. So right now, this change is about 50 feet uphill, right? So, maybe we can come back, let's say 25 feet. And we can look at how much that lessens it. But again, I don't think it's going to be much.
Okay.
I don't know that I'm worried about lessening that percentage as I want more flat up at the top.
At the top. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you can accomplish both, I'm sure the people who
if we
live down there would be appreciative.
could we go to a greater percentage right off of the back of the sidewalk? Not to 20%, but to say 4 or 5% to give us a little bit more length before we start the 20.
We can. Yeah, I think what I would do is just either, or a combination, start this 20% sooner, let's say 5 feet sooner, so that PVI moves, and then we put in a longer vertical curve that transitions from that 20 to 2%.
Okay.
And with that, I can see if like we go to 1075 here, can we do 19%? We can look at that.
Okay. So that was option alternative 1, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So switching back, and just to note that the profile for the second option is nearly identical. It's just the alignment. So back to here. So the second alternative is basically realigning Basin Street. It has a couple advantages. I didn't like it off the bat because you don't typically like to offset streets from one another. They're better if they're straight across. But, in this case, Basin Street traffic is extremely light. Mountain Street is not, heavy either. So this does come with some slight advantages. There is less impact to the prime property. this opens up an opportunity to put a catch basin to catch some of the water up in here, because one thing we noted, and I didn't say in the first alternative, is today there's curbs. I mean, the retaining walls basically stick up above the road and act like curbs. So all the water on Basin Street is going straight to the bottom and dumping out into the noise and the meeting properties. So I was concerned that both these, now that we're raising them, widening them, having slopes, you're creating more water. So this one does allow us to put a catch basin in, because the road is going to be high enough above existing. We don't have worries about excavating down and, being in danger of hitting the water line. It does, I think I said, it has a little bit less impacts over here. I think I like this one of the two from that perspective, and I can further refine that by trying to soften this curve and maybe pull stuff over even further. So something we certainly could refine as we go forward.
I think that would be my only concern there with the grade of that hill. The more curve that's in it, if you lose control, you've got a curve you've got to deal with. Whereas if you could soften that curve a little bit, your chances of sliding straight are a lot better than they are sliding around the corner.
Yep, and it'll pull us further away from this wall.
Chris, this proposal here how wide would the road be?
This would be the same. It'd be 22 feet of pavement, and then there'd be a gravel shoulder off each side. Because again, because of the 2-to-1 slopes, I'd suggest guardrail.
And how far over are you moving the entrance?
The entrance is about 30 feet.
Okay, and now we talked about a 48-inch pipe versus a 36-inch pipe, and the water coming down Main Street and Mountain Street. Could the water coming down Mountain Street in this proposal go to that so-called newer catch basin on the east side of the road, right there? Yes. And then you'd have only less footage. Do I see less footage of the 48-inch pipe maybe at the south end of the blue? I'm just asking,
This other than this blue pipe here, the system is identical to the other. Absolutely identical. Before the road's over, the other one's over here, and now it's on that side of this.
But right now, the water comes off Mount Street. Doesn't it kind of go up toward Bristol Financial and then across the road in one spot?
There's it's hard to tell the existing ones in here, but yeah, these kind of do a loop, I think, and it exits right here right now.
They don't go west.
No,
It
crosses right here and outlets onto the bank.
Oh, okay.
Chris, a couple questions. The red you said is guardrails, right? That red strip?
Sorry, the red's the sidewalk.
Oh, sidewalk. Okay. So as part of this project to put that, because if you move it 35 feet, you're going to have to add sidewalk that's not there, correct?
Well, we'll be reconstructing all that anyways.
There's sidewalk there now.
Yeah, but if they move
the
the road 35 feet, you're going to have that 35 feet with no sidewalk.
Yeah.
So you have
Which
to put
is
that.
not.
I was just trying to orient.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, once you take the road out, there's no sidewalk there.
Correct.
That's this piece here. Putting in new sidewalk.
And it has to be flattened. Obviously, it has to be flattened
How much with a corner coming up from the basin and then they stop at the sidewalk? Or the bigger trucks that Jill talked about and our town trucks that come out of there plowing, are they gonna be 90 degrees to see back towards East Street? Or are they gonna have to look over out their back window, so to speak?
I don't think this changed. It really doesn't change much from where you are today. If not, maybe even makes it better. You're saying to look back up towards Main Street?
No, look towards East Street and you're coming up out of the hill.
East Street,
And you're stopped at that crossbar, are you gonna get a good sight view down East Street?
I looked at that in Google and I feel it meets stopping sight distance in both directions. It certainly does not make it worse.
Okay,
And I would note that because of the profile, you're going to be sitting so much higher. It should
and
be better
flatter,
than
right
today.
now they're looking up over the dash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
We don't gain shoulder as we go that way. I'm
So
There's
that's one of the things we can, here, let me go to here. So right now the sidewalk's basically in the same spot, but this is all paved right up to it. So we can change this. Right now we're narrowing the shoulder to 4 feet. But we can make that wider and then make this green strip in between narrower.
I guess I'm not worried about that. I was just wondering if we were gaining any real estate by moving west. In between the existing sidewalk and the road, do we gain any real estate, or you're saying the profile is gonna be the same as we head down the hill?
It's only
So-
ever, it's only a couple feet longer. So
Okay,
it's not,
not really,
right.
yeah. Not like we're gaining 10 feet.
No.
What's the possibility? I like this proposal actually better than the first one, but the possibility of maybe softening up that little turn at the top and maybe making it, instead of 22-foot wide throat at the top, maybe a 25 or 28-foot wide, right? Across
We can definitely, as we progress this, we'll look at the radiuses. I'm sure these will get a little bit bigger. Again, this is just for concept.
Okay,
Yeah, we could definitely, put a turning template on it and make sure that these are, flared correct.
Okay, and it seems like when we get to pricing, this proposal is actually cheaper than.
Slightly.
Yeah,
yeah,
So, this one, obviously you got less fill slope on one side, but you get it on the other side. I guess the other thing I would think this will probably be a little bit easier to maintain traffic during construction as well, because you're building at least portions of it off to the side, so it comes with some advantages.
ready.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would change would be to try to soften that arc just a little
Yeah.
bit to
The
make
east, on the east side,
it
green
straighter.
space, you mean?
But other than that, I personally like that one.
and we have the space to the west to be
Right.
able to use
Yeah.
that, since it's unused at the moment. I mean, it's just guardrail there.
Do we own that property, Valerie, that's in the green, or is that Adam LaPearl's, or?
It's Adams.
It's
and-
Adams.
And he's good with all of this?
He's been at the table from day one and he supports the project.
Okay. I mean, it's really like, as the term Joel likes to use, it's really just holding the earth together. It's not
One
worth,
piece,
it's
yeah.
not worth a whole lot as a piece of property.
Unless you can put your parking garage.
Yeah, well, I still think that a parking
would-
garage, you enter on the top and you put a centrifuge in the bottom and you come out on the lower level, but it probably doesn't fit the budget.
I mean, one of the proposals we saw from Green Mountain Engineering figure early was going sharp left towards
Yeah,
the bar
around.
and then come back around
Yeah.
and climb up the hill that way.
Yeah, you'd have less grade.
And have a lot less grade.
Eric, do you see any issues in terms of this curve?
I like the first one better.
And why?
Huh?
Why?
Because doing it that way there, you're not gaining anything, in my opinion. And you're getting it closer to where we push the snow, so I don't know how that's gonna affect anything down there, as far as the entrance to the road being closer to where we push snow. If the snow accumulation, I don't know, it's just a couple things I was thinking about, that's all.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, Eric, with the snow and pushing it over, but that may be one of the problems that's causing the the erosion in the bank. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, so, but, you know, back when it was a village in town, they trucked all their snow off Main Street. Didn't dump it over the bank.
Yeah, but that bank's been going for way more than when we push snow over.
Oh, no, I didn't, no, I didn't say that was the
A
cause.
3-on-1 slope is gonna hold it.
Yeah. and
I'm not gonna
what you're
say that
saying,
caused it.
keeping
No,
it-
I know
Keeping
it
it
is.
wet with snow probably doesn't help.
I mean, flicking back and forth, you're not losing a tremendous amount. You lose a little bit, but not a huge amount.
Ten
Give-
square
No,
feet.
it's just my own personal preference.
Yeah.
Yeah, this little spot, you can't see it, Chris, but I think if this to me could be softened a little.
No, not there, the other side.
This little bump?
No, down, or where the
Down here?
blue line is.
Right
Right in
here?
there, yeah, right in there. You want,
I was thinking this throat be open just a little bit.
well, it could be opened a little, but the issue is you've got a curve in the hill. In my
Oh,
eyes.
that's
you've
what
got
you
a
said about
curve-
sliding off.
You got a curve in the
Yeah.
hill, so if you soften that right where his cursor is,
Yep,
then
Oh, yeah.
it's a straight
right
line.
there. Yep, I see what you're saying now. That's what you were saying about sliding.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that's easy. That's easy.
Do we foresee any traffic
It's easy
issues
on paper.
with this move? Since it's not directly opposite Mountain Street anymore, does that provide better safety for cars coming up? If there was two cars at once, they're not
I think
competing with
it's-
each other anymore.
Well, it depends on what which way they're both going, but
Yeah,
like I said, in general, you like to have them directly apart. But traffic is so, there's
Light.
it's so
Yeah.
light. I think it's kind of negligible.
okay.
And they're not directly across from each other now.
They're not. They are off a little bit. Yep.
They're off of almost the
Not
width
by-
of,
yeah,
not by much, at
No,
least the car length or so.
you just have to move the postal boxes probably.
Yeah, well,
No,
that's
we
not
can-
that's not shown in here either. But I showed told the residents. I mean, I think the plan would be to move that postal box, and then a portion of this green strip is actually going to need to be widened shoulder so they can pull off like they do today to grab their mail.
Yeah,
I think, the other thing by moving this, one of the issues we eliminate is putting a ton of fill over our water line. We're not bringing the profile up over our water line right there at the top of the hill.
Well, you still are to some degree because you're still having to fill quite a bit to get this ADA compliant and then catch back up.
But it's not like we're gonna be running traffic on it and
No.
putting the water line down
Right.
another,
Right.
put the water line down another 5 feet and then run
Right.
traffic on it. That's a lot more weight than.
Yep.
okay.
Chris, would that be a recommendation of Du Bois and King to possibly change that? Not the depth of that water line, but put a new water line in? Wouldn't wanna put all this work in and then 2 years later it starts leaking and whatever. I don't know what the age of that line is going down, probably Jill knows.
Is it 2015, was it?
No, it's 1995. That's when the pump
19
house was built, and that's
Oh,
when the line went in to bring the water
The
up.
river crossing and all that?
Yep.
Yeah, all the way up to the reservoir? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I'll double check just in case there was something there before that they repurposed, but I think it was part of the 95 project, so. I'll just double
Do you-
check to make sure I'm not
Do you
wrong.
have any concerns with that getting deeper?
It's not super duper, well, that's the whole thing is that it takes the water line out of being under the road for a portion of it, which makes it sometimes easier to work on when they're not under the pavement. However, when they're like 15 feet underground, I actually saw that at another customer that had a 2-inch water line blast apart. Was flooding like crazy. They were losing 52,000 gallons a day, and it was 18 feet down. So it was a very banked dig. It took a lot a lot of banking and
Yeah.
a very, very big hole to get down to that water line. So you could imagine that if that water line did break for whatever reason or have to get replaced, you'd have to bank a really big hole to fix it. Like you'd have to make it very big and come down in lifts. Because there's
Either
not,
that or start up the top, tie into it and put in a new one down to where it's at a depth you can deal with, which may actually be more cost effective
Well,
than,
that's what I was wondering.
more cost effective.
It is
than
30
digging.
years old. That's not old for water line, but
hey, I mean, if you guys think that it needs to be replaced because the road's gonna be ripped up and you want it to run a particular course, just know that that is the one feed up to the tank. That is the only way we make
Right.
water.
or put another one down beside it or something. I don't know.
I'm
Another
not,
big one.
I'm not really that concerned about it being deeper. If it did fail, I would think the route to go wouldn't be to dig down 15 feet to change it. It would be to dig down
Right.
7 feet and put a new line in.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I mean,
you'd have to,
you're only talking the length of the
Roadway.
length of the road we're changing.
yep, it
Okay.
is a pressure main. You just have to be really careful on your bends and like really good blocking, but yep, I see what you're thinking. Just gradually bring it up to grade if we had to.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Chris?
Just
Russ,
quick,
if you-
the two alternatives, the first one, we had that estimated at just over 1.1 million. The second one's just under, so they're within $100,000. They're both are carrying a 20% contingency right now. So things in here like, any landscaping and that sort of stuff isn't an item at the moment, but would hopefully be covered under the 20% contingency. Then a quick comparison of the alternatives. We feel they both meet the purpose and need. The resource impacts, I think, are going to be limited or nil, but those are still to be determined. Utility impacts, obviously, we've talked about the water. There's also, I believe, a telecommunications line that's buried along the back of the sidewalk. Is that correct, Eric?
Yes.
Yes.
3 of them
Okay.
are,
Okay, so
I believe they're 4-inch PVC.
they are, one of them's
Okay.
in concrete.
So depending on depth, et cetera, those, there may be some coordination there or relocation. And then private property impacts, obviously there is some, had that at moderate. Obviously we'll need some right of way here, including acquiring the bigger lot. I think both proposals meet the grant application requirements. As I discussed, it's probably 2026 if all goes well. And then the cost opinions, as I stated, about 1.1. So really the next step is for you folks to decide if one of the alternatives is one you want to proceed forward with. Let us know which one that is, and we can move forward to conceptual level design.
Okay. Any more questions for Chris, you guys? We got a 50-minute presentation. It's a good presentation, Chris.
Thank you.
I don't think we need to, as he said, make a decision right now, tonight, but maybe on this agenda in 2 weeks, Valerie, we think about it for 2 weeks, everybody together and alone, what you want to do, come back?
Is there
Alternative
a
one,
reason why
alternative
you
two?
don't feel, is there a reason you don't feel prepared to make a recommendation tonight? Or do you need more information to
I
think
don't,
about it?
Where's the
fine.
money
Was-
coming from?
Right, that's
That's
one of the
it's like,
questions
where's the
I
money
had.
coming from? I
We
mean, I
got
know we got
somewhere
some
around
grants.
$500,000 right now in it, or we have grant in the
526, right?
526, so $500,000 went far off, yeah.
it only gets, it
It's
only
gonna get worse.
It only gets worse. We're
We
a
started
quarter,
this-
we're $250,000 off on Lincoln Road. We're $500,000 off on this project. What's the next project gonna be?
Yeah,
Well,
and they
it's-
didn't get you good news on the water lines. Main Street, so.
Yeah, so where does the money for this, Val, in terms of how much is left of the grant?
Well, as I illustrate in my notes of the existing funding we have, And that's assuming that the Downtown Transportation Fund agrees to give us an extension. We currently have $452,000 for whatever's next. The right-of-way or construction. Obviously, that doesn't come close to $1 million. So my suggestion is that we continue to apply for additional funding, that we apply immediately to the Addison County Regional Priority List, which is it gets added to the statewide list and gets ranked, and that will help us become eligible, assuming that it scores well, and I expect it will. Then we become eligible for other sources of funding. I recommend, now that we have more details to work with, we would be in a better position to apply to the Senate congressionally directed funding programs, get on their lists. Those take a long time because there's a certain cycle for applications, but then it might take quite a while before you get the final answer of whether you're going to get funded. So and then also the Northern Border Regional Commission, I think would be another good source of funding.
Like when you say take a long while, is it gonna be like 2 years, like the water fund?
Did you hear about it?
It could, I don't know.
Was there any feedback in terms of
For the federal dollars, I don't know.
Okay.
was there
Okay.
feedback from residents on these two,
Feedback in terms of who?
from the residents who live down there on alternative 1 or alternative 2? Is there one that was preferred by the residents? I know that they've seen it in meetings. I was just curious about that.
Chris can correct me if I'm wrong, but my impression was that they tended to favor the realignment option. And that also had less impact on Bobby Prime's property in that area.
I would agree.
Okay.
Is Bobby Prime the one right on the corner?
Yeah.
That would actually give her more space.
I mean, I think
More space.
my preference would be alternative 2. You know, it's a little bit cheaper by $35,000, but that's not much.
That
But
doesn't include getting the right of ways and the
No.
easements, whatever, so.
right.
There'll be
But it
legal
seems-
also, because we'll have to use legal documents to articulate the new rights of way.
Yeah. But it
You'll
seems
also-
alternative 2 seems to accomplish everything
Hold on.
that we want to do. And it seems like the rest of the board, we're interested in that.
Go ahead, Chris, you want something?
I was just gonna mention it, in addition to the right of ways, that's not included in this, because this is just the construction cost estimate, would be someone to come do the construction inspection, which would not be us. It would need to be another firm.
Right. So it's like-
Bigger, your thoughts?
I personally think that we gain a little bit by going with option 2. And I kind of like the idea of offsetting the entrance more from Mountain Street. I don't know why. I mean, I know that in most settings, straight across is better, but in this case, I tend to think that by offsetting it, they're not gonna be competing.
Yeah,
And if somebody does pull out at the same time, there's more time,
that's right.
more
To
reaction time.
correct,
Right.
yeah.
Michelle?
Yeah, I'm indifferent to either one, but I can go with either option. I mean, option 2 seems to give, to me, more space at the top end.
Okay. Jessica, what's your thoughts?
I agree. I like option number 2. I think that it creates more ability for drivers to see before the curve starts on East Street. And I like the idea of having more space for the cars to sort of come up before they have to enter the road. I think it seems safer.
I like option 2 also.
Okay.
Too, so,
So then I'll make the motion to have Du Bois and King proceed with option 2.
Second.
okay, there's a motion and a second, Du Bois and King go to option 2. Continue. Any more questions for Chris or Valerie, anybody?
No, Val, but we should apply for whatever we can get.
More funding, Valerie?
Anything we can get.
Well, we have a grant writer. so that's
Absolutely.
Yeah,
A good thing.
so all those in favor, Jessica, do you have any more questions for?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor of with option 2 to turn Du Bois and King forward, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, Chris, Valerie, you got your marching orders?
Thanks, Chris.
Okay,
Okay,
Val, I'll make a list of some questions I might have to how we tweak this. Sidewalk, the sidewalk offset, the shoulder widths, that sort of thing, but we'll be in touch. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Chris.
thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, consider grinding and paving quote from Pike Industries Incorporated and schedule for Pine Street and Lincoln Road projects. Valerie or Eric, want to fill us in on that?
Now that's Eric's job.
Front and center.
Come up, Eric.
Huh?
Want to come up?
Come on up.
I'll get you out of here, Eric. You come up.
What, is that the last thing I got?
No, probably not.
Valerie, do you have it where you can share it?
I do. Yep, I'm working on that.
You can't share that off of your phone? Or off of your watch? You ain't got that far yet?
I ain't got that far yet.
Okay.
What, can you see it or what screen are
Yeah.
you seeing?
Yeah.
No, we can
Okay.
see it.
So this is
As you
Pine
know,
Street.
I have two screens and I don't always know
It's
which one
Pine
I
Street and
can see.
Lincoln combined.
Okay. Is it the
Great.
full length just past Eagle Park?
Yeah, it does the whole thing from 116 all the way to the town line.
Okay.
Grinds it all.
Grind it all.
Grinding and paving?
Yeah.
Okay.
Grinding and paving, yep.
And then for Pine Street, is it grinding as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was just gonna put the base in this year, correct, in Pine?
Yeah, and well, that one's included base and top.
For Pine.
So so for both of these roads, it includes the grinding and the base and the top on both of them.
Okay.
Okay,
Are we grinding the two of them and then waiting a year before putting the top on for both?
paving, that's why I was gonna ask the same question. Grinding and paving with the
And that's,
base.
that's just allowing it. to
That was
settle
your
and stuff.
last recommendation.
Yeah, my thing for Pine Street was to grind it and put the base down, let it ride a year or two. To get the traffic on it, and, cause you're gonna have, it's gonna settle, no matter what you do. So let him pound it for a couple years, and then you shim it and top it.
Okay.
After that, and the same with Lincoln Road, once you grind it and you put your gravel in places, reshape it, it's gonna do the same thing.
Okay.
And the last time we did, Lincoln Road was done in 98 or 99.
Yeah.
And the only paving that's been done there since was where it
Flood,
Where
washed.
it washed, yeah.
Flood wall.
And we did the same thing that time. We put the base in and a year later we put the top
Top
on.
on,
Are we worried about the condition of Lincoln Road? It doesn't seem that too bad.
it's ruddy, bad, I mean, we're talking,
Yeah, I mean, I guess in some areas,
Three,
yeah.
2,
And
3
Lincoln
inch.
did some of their side.
well, they're intending on doing from the line up, right?
they were.
They
I don't
were,
know-
that was-
I don't know if that's
Things
changed
have
now or
changed
not.
up there,
So
yeah.
this price, if we agree to this, it locks them in, so they come back 2 years later to do the paving, and we're not.
No,
paying.
the paving will be done this year,
The base.
the base.
Right,
The top will have to be, in 2 years, when we go do the top, that'd be a whole separate estimate, price,
oh,
So
everything.
this is not for,
This
The top
has an
coat.
inch and a
This
half.
is,
of top.
yes.
So this
is
could
to
be
do
lower.
everything right now.
Obviously, this will be lowered, Eric, if we cut this
Right,
inch and a half out.
right.
Uh,
Just to do Pine Street for grinding and paving with the bottom, with the base and the top is $147,000.
I think we should
so,
not talk about the top on either one, because you keep saying we're gonna wait a year or so.
well, this number includes the top, so
Right.
if you take, 4,500 ton 40, is that total?
Which one you talking about?
Well, 1.5 top. Oh, this is both of them together.
Right.
Okay, wait, so
you got
if
you got
Lincoln
your-
Road for machine paving and then the reclaim and fine grade is 323, 812, 22.
Now,
I
you gotta,
just figured,
you gotta back the, 2.5 inch and a half, you gotta back the tonnage out for the top coat.
Right, so it'll be.
well, I was just figuring out, I was
You
just
just
wanting to know what
splitting
the
them.
difference
Yeah,
was
you were
between what was
splitting
Pine
them,
Street
yeah.
be, what was
Yeah,
Lincoln
yeah.
Road gonna be.
So it's what is,
Which one do you want
well, I wanna back the tonnage out.
to,
I mean, if we cut it by if we just cut it by 1/3,
the total?
Yeah.
the total tonnage by.
Well, if we're thinking about changing it, do they need to send a new quote? Versus us figuring it out?
Well, you should be able to figure out and get it.
About 314,000 if you're gonna cut a third out bigger. It's gonna cost you 314 if you cut a third out.
Yeah, and Lincoln Road, we have a,
Just rough numbers.
a Structure 2 grant for that too as well to do Lincoln Road.
Right.
So we got, what is it, Valerie, 175
Yes,
or, yes?
yes, 175 for the Lincoln Road Riverbank project and 200,000 for the paving.
Yeah, so it's
200,000
75.
for bathing.
Where we have.
So you need 114,
51,000, a little over 51,000.
Somewhere around
It's not covered.
114,000
Which,
to finish up the
Okay.
paving for these two.
and which I
roads.
can take that part out of my budget.
What's that?
Yeah,
to
but you're also
cover that.
taking it out of you're also looking to do that for Mountain Road, so you're gonna have enough.
That can be done the following year. That's like 1.5 or 2 year span that you can do that grant with.
All right, so
If you do the
Hold
full
on.
thing for Lincoln
Got
Road,
about 4
we'd be short about 52 grand
Yeah,
from the two grants we have.
Okay.
Now,
Val, you hear
this,
that?
that,
Hold on, Ian had a question.
no, I wanted to have you,
So Valerie, what do we have? You said we had 200,000 in paving money just for Lincoln Road, nobody else, right?
Correct.
And what do we have in the paving budget starting July 1? Or do we don't have to because it's a capital?
We,
Right,
we also
I-
have 175,000 for the riverbank.
But that's,
Road,
yeah,
which is
that's where I wanna back up to, because
Okay.
Lincoln Road being done is all contingent
on the
on,
river getting
on the
fixed.
river getting repaired.
Right.
Right.
So if we're looking at doing this, we need to know that we're gonna
Lincoln.
do the
Repair.
the slope repair on the river.
I thought
Where-
that a given. I thought we were doing that.
Well, where's the extra 250,000 coming from to do that?
Valerie?
We're still waiting on word of a $40,000 grant that we submitted through the Better Roads program. The rest would either come from a reserve fund or borrowing. And we can borrow up to 5 years without bond approval.
So we're gonna be short somewhere around 2.25.
And folks have already decided not to use ARPA funding for these kinds of things, but that is an option. We have about that amount left.
Okay, so
So I think
That's kind of limbo, right?
we really need this estimate. The 61,000 or the 62,000 is not gonna change,
For,
cause that's
For the
reclaiming
reclaiming.
both of the roads.
Grinding them.
okay,
So the 408 is what's gonna change by eliminating the tonnage for the
Top.
1.5 top.
And I can have Mike redo that tonnage as far as just putting the base down, the 2-inch base.
Well, that's 4 inch, that ought to be easy enough to figure out.
If it's 2 and 2, it's just cut it in half.
Yeah,
Valerie, do you need an answer tonight? or we can't suck this deal or find a pay for it this deal?
Okay, so one of the other reasons why I'm bringing it to you too is when they're planning on coming in to grind Pine Street second week of May. I was also gonna have them grind Lincoln Road the same time while they're here.
Is there savings of that or not?
Yeah, there is.
Cause they don't
Moving
have to
charge?
move back in and all that, and the more square yardage quantity, whatever gives you a better per price.
Okay,
So can
Um,
that 200,000 we have for paving be used for the grinding?
Yeah, Lincoln Road, that's what
Yeah.
Lincoln Road was to do with the grinding and the paving.
Mhm.
The grinding for Pine Street was paving budget money.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I-
simply because if we don't grind Pine Street, everything's gonna
Everything's
mirror,
gonna
mirror
mirror
right
right
back
back
up through.
And on Pine Street, the other contingency too on that is drainage. If you guys, this is for a future, this is just for information, you guys can talk about it, figure it out later, whatever. Are we gonna do the drainage on Pine Street? I've talked to 4 contractors to give me an estimate on them doing the drainage. I've got back one estimate so far. I met with another one last week. I'm meeting with another one either this Thursday or Friday, and then I just got one more. But a couple of them can't do it until like July, August, before they could do the drainage. So if they can't do it till then, and you guys are okay with waiting till then I could put this off. I wouldn't have to grind Pine Street so early.
or, and you'd hold off on grinding Lincoln Road too?
Yeah, I'd hold off.
They
from
gotta be
grinding
done
both of them.
together in order
You
to
gotta be
get
done
that
together to
price.
get that price.
And I would have to call Mike within let's just say within a couple, 3 weeks before they start booking the machine out for grinding. Once that machine gets going on grinding, it's hard to get it, cause it's booked right out.
Another factor here is that Masterson is expecting to begin the Lincoln Road project sometime after July. And that is going to require them digging out an entire lane of Lincoln Road so that they can get the equipment low enough to reach the areas of the river that need the repair. So that they're going to be in the road, and the road is going to be blocked. At least one
Closed.
lane is going to be
It's done.
completely
We'll end up
Yeah.
closing
That's
the
the
road.
stabilization that they're doing?
from
Yeah.
Eagle Park up, or thereabouts, wherever.
Down, from Eagle Park down.
Right.
But is that the $500,000?
Yeah,
Price
That's,
that we got?
that was
figured out
that
where
$500,000
money's coming
and we got 250 or we got 400,000 of that. How much?
no.
from? No, we have
got-
175, right?
No, we
250.
have 175 and waiting on 40,000.
Oh, so we're still
We
300.
got 215,000 and we're 275,
We're
285, $300,000 short. Where's that
Right.
coming from?
Well, you
Right,
did
that was
beef
the
up
discussion.
the reserve funds recently, so hopefully there's.
Yeah,
some
but
there
we
that
keep
can tap.
dipping into those funds.
I know. I don't
I mean,
have a current.
We've got
balance.
some pretty expensive projects. I
Mhm.
mean, we're probably looking at around, I think Eric and I gave you an initial estimate of around 150 to do the drainage on Pine Street, and it's looking like it's gonna be
Closer to
less.
Oh,
I mean, probably closer to 100.
Somewhere right around 100.
You do for the drainage, you do that before grinding, correct?
It can be done before,
before they
after,
put a base down.
yeah.
I would, yeah, cause my thought was to have the road ground and then have them come in and do the drainage, and then they don't have to play around with ripping up any pavement or anything like that. It's all dirt, gravel, whatever.
I don't have my thought is, yeah, leave it for a couple of years, but then when you go to pave that, Lincoln Road that you want to put a base down. There's a year that no pavement's gonna get done in town, new roads. Because you gotta go back and you gotta finish what you started, so to speak.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you
But
mean.
we've done it
We have done it before.
We've done it a number of times. We did it on the Moncton Road
Yeah.
when we did that section. We did it, I believe we did it on
Lower Notch Road.
Burpee Road. Yeah.
Lower Notch Road from, was it Rounds Road?
Down
To the top of the hill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
it-
that's just a shim now, and that hasn't been topped all the way up to Mike's.
Yeah.
Actually, from the bottom of the hill
Oh, it
to
is.
Mike's has just been base, and that's never been
Base.
topped. And that's,
So, and that, doing
years.
this gives us longevity. It allows. us
Doing
to-
it correctly
Right.
gives us, you know, what it stops in is
what they call.
like, if we don't
mirroring.
grind Pine Street, every single crack that's there,
Be back.
within a
to-
year's time is gonna be mirrored up through, because the
Right.
pavement's just gonna go to where it was. By grinding, the last time we did, like I said, it was 98 or 99, it was after the flood of 98 that we did Lincoln Road. So that's been 25, 26 years, and we haven't had to touch it.
And a perfect example was that, I remember that, and Bigger sold me on it, was we ground it. And before I got on the board, and we ground it though, they ground it. And Lincoln didn't, and they paid right up all through, and Lincoln's cracks came within 4 or 5 years, their cracks.
So it
were
was within a year.
Yeah, their road was just like this again. And they didn't grind it.
You-
And ours
Basically,
stayed,
grinding gives you a whole brand new service to play off.
Okay,
so. Can,
And it gives you an opportunity where if you do have, where you have a soft spot
So
or
you
something,
can-
you
you
can
can
add
grind.
material.
Right,
So
dig it
then-
out, put your base in.
so the grinding gives us a better foundation for no matter when you pave it, but then we're waiting a year for that first part of the project to settle, the grinding and the shim, and then you're paving a year later to do the final paving, is that
A
correct?
year
A year,
or
a year or
Okay.
2 or 3, whatever it works out. to
What,
be.
and so what happens if you don't? What happens if you grind and pave at the same time? Does that reduce the longevity of that road?
No, I mean, it's a coarser mix, so it's a little rougher.
Yeah.
So when you drive on it, you're gonna hear it. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be, you know, it's not gonna be nice and quiet like the 3/8 mix. No, really, I don't know of any drawbacks. If, you know, if it's gonna move, it's gonna move.
Right.
And you're actually saving because you haven't got the top coat on it, and you can shim that before you put the top coat on.
I definitely recommend it for Pine Street. With.
We did
if
it
you
on
wanna
North
do-
Street too.
Yeah, we did it on North Street with the grinding they wanna do and stuff.
Yeah.
Or because they wanna put in the drainage.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there,
It's too bad that after we get the news from Valerie today about the water. I still think some of that grinding should come out of the water department money. Yeah, I mean, that was put in late. I just think if the water line was done by May 1st or July 1st, we might have ground that road and put a base in and been done with it. I don't know, cause they had half of it dug up. They wouldn't have had to go around and do that patch job, if you call it that. They could have just said, we're gonna grind pull the rest and grade it, and
But we weren't ready with the drainage.
we weren't
either,
ready
so-
for the drainage.
so for the drainage, is there a plan in place, or does it need to be designed?
No, that was
Okay.
designed.
These
That's
two,
all.
Steve did that.
It's in there.
Steve
Okay.
did that.
Just gotta scoop it out of your head.
Yeah, Steve came up with.
CNP,
preliminary one, and then
CNP,
Peak and I
hang
looked
it
at
in
it
for a
and
minute,
stuff. That's right.
go to the peaker.
And we talked,
Because we did, I did call Steve to make sure that we did not need a stormwater.
Jill, I got
district.
your question, I'm gonna ask
And,
you.
and we don't. And
Um,
that's why he said, you know, keep him out of it.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
said what we had planned
would work.
would work.
So would it, Valerie, question for you or Eric, if we put this off for 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, we vote on this, and you bring us back some somewhat hard numbers, I don't, nothing to hold you to that tight, but right now, we got for 2 lifts there, a base and if Eric is back from Pike's number with just grinding and base,
Okay. I can
and
do
then
that.
you come back with the structure grant and how much we're gonna need, we're short of Lincoln Road. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, I think we need to know what our total cost is and where our money's coming from. I mean, we.
Not just for the paving, but for. the
Well,
link,
no,
yeah.
the Lincoln
Yeah.
Road, I mean,
For the structures.
The whole thing on Lincoln
Yeah,
Road,
yeah.
yeah.
And the structures, the drainage on, he said he's meeting with another contractor.
so maybe he'll have the numbers there and we'll have concrete numbers for
Okay,
for
Yep.
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
The other question I have for you is, I did call. Oh, the paper.
Ireland?
There you go.
I can't read your mind, but I know what you're thinking.
Okay.
Pretty close though.
Yeah.
Ireland.
Concrete, for the tops and the bases, we have 3 structures in Peaker's,
We actually have
4 structures in Peaker's Pit, so, and I'm missing. What is it, 2 bottoms and
3 bottoms and 4 tops.
3, okay,
This is your Pine Street drainage.
drainage, yeah.
You
So-
actually might, I think we're only gonna use 3
We're
there.
only gonna use 3, so my question is, do you want me to order the bottoms and the tops for them now? And have them, or wait until you guys decide? Or I come back with the full numbers and all that stuff?
I don't, personally, I don't think that those parts, have you got a number for those?
I do at the other at the shop, I called them, I told them I'd tell them tomorrow, an answer.
I don't think that those.
They were,
How far out are they?
he'd have to order them, he said 2-3 weeks, and then they'd have to be delivered. And
So you
looking
could
at-
be 2 months.
Yeah, it's possible,
So my thought is we order them, we have them. If we're gonna, at some point, we're gonna use
even if
those.
we don't use them on Pine Street, we could use them on Munsell.
I thought they were going to be used on Munsell, actually.
Originally, they were, but being that Munsell's not gonna be, the water lines is 2 years out
Oh,
for
okay,
Munsell.
we're gonna
Well, what I
push
was
that,
gonna,
that drainage problem down the road a little further.
yeah, I'm trying to have
Push it
Steve
down the
coordinate
drain.
it with the water, so maybe we could get a better price. The company that's doing the water line also gets the drainage line to get a better price on it.
I thought we were actually gonna, you guys and with
I can't,
somebody's bigger lift,
I
bigger
can't-
machine was going to set the structures. I thought we were
if,
gonna.
if somebody with a bigger machine can dig them and set them, we can do the pipes in between.
I
Our
thought that's
machines,
what we were
our
gonna
machine's
try.
not big enough to do that,
All right, that's what I thought we were.
unless Peaker wants to do it and standing on snows, but I can't do that.
Okay, so Valerie, can you and Peter get together? Wait a minute, we got a question from Jill.
No, she asked about a grant.
Yeah,
Joe said, asked us if we knew about a grant.
Hazard mitigation grant.
as an immigration grant.
She's
She's got it up to the screen. I can't
Yeah,
read.
so it's called-
It's very blurry.
Hold on, let me unblur. I don't know, can I unblur? Do-do-do-do.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Did we
baby, this is, I don't know if you have it yet, but it's $64 million of grant funding. And it sounds as though I was sent it for like water and wastewater because you can put in, like generators where there aren't any, for instance. But
Yeah.
there's a spot on here that does structural rehabilitation of roadways and such, where you have slopes. So I don't know if you have this one yet, but if you don't, maybe this would close your
I mean,
$300,000.
that would help with Lincoln Road,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
the flooding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Did you
my
get
thought.
that by email?
Yeah, I did, and I printed it out because I think it could apply to you guys and a couple of other people that I work with, and it's a lot of money and it's worth pre-applying.
Sure, can you forward that?
For sure, because I kept hearing, hundreds of thousands short, and I'm like, you know what? That's a grant. Not alone.
So Valerie, first of all, Jessica, I apologize. Do you have any questions for Eric or before we move on? We're not gonna move on, but I mean, more questions for us? Do you?
No, I agree. I think knowing what all of the amounts are so that we can prioritize will be really important.
Mhm.
So Valerie, is that something you could do with Eric when he gets his last list of contractors to meet with for the drainage over there and gets that pipe thing done? with
Right, and I'll
just
be able to check
grinding
in
and
with,
base?
and I'll be able to
Okay,
check in
that's on
with
the
Justin and
agenda.
Sharon about the balances for the reserve funds and projections and things like that.
Okay,
And where are we at as far as ordering those bases and tops? I mean, we're gonna use them.
I told the guy that we had a meeting tonight and that I would let him know tomorrow. So I'll call him tomorrow morning and then he can order them.
I mean, if they're, if we don't take delivery for 2 months, that's 2 months before we gotta. If it takes that long for them to get here, if we wait 2 months and we grind the road and then we decide them and it takes 2 months to get here, that
Yeah,
means that
you're
road
right.
doesn't get paved.
right. till
And we
late
will
September,
use
October.
them. It's
Right,
not
I
like,
agree. Oh, yeah. I think, and that probably, because he's had somewhat of a light winter, probably could come right out of his budget. Those
That's what-
tops.
yeah, that's what I was gonna do anyways.
Yeah,
Late winter.
Order
Talk
away.
to you about your
order
budget.
away there.
About
Are
my
you
who?
all set with that, Jessica? Are you all set with
When?
that? You give Eric permission to,
Yeah,
I think he
when-
just,
When?
I see it, Picker, really as, we're getting all the parts for the drainage boxes that we own.
Yeah,
We just don't have all that stuff. We're not buying the pipe and everything.
and I mean, if he were to decide tomorrow that he needed to put one in on Munsell, he can't because he doesn't have the,
Top or
he
bottom.
doesn't have the top or the bottom.
right, and
So,
that's a good thing that you brought up with the culverts. The amount of footage of culverts that I need, or me and Peter came up with that we need, that might be a little ways out too as well.
They're harder to get.
Well, the footage wise,
Okay,
because we're looking at what,
19,
almost 900 feet total
okay.
For where?
for
Pine
Pine
Street.
Street.
Okay,
So,
alrighty, everybody.
Yeah,
So
this
we're
one.
not gonna vote to grant the quote, we're just, you're giving us back.
yeah, I'll come
2 weeks
back,
for more
I'll come back
information.
with the information for you guys in 2 weeks.
My guess is it won't be done until August anyway. I mean, you said May, but at this.
Well,
point-
right now it's scheduled for May, and I gotta let Mike know tomorrow
So
that,
until
to
June
get
or
that,
July.
and we'll just have, we might have to push it out,
I know
so.
the person down on the end of Pine Street, if it doesn't go to July or August when you heard it. So, but I gotta come back to
Come on, it's
it.
been 20+ years, come on.
Been 20 years,
Yeah,
leaving it.
what's another 20?
right,
Yeah.
right, alright,
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you, Eric.
alright,
Thanks,
so,
Okay.
Eric.
anything else for me, is there anything else for
No.
me on there, Peter?
There's the next one, which is the
Water line.
Heffernan water line.
You know, they're
Do you
gonna
have
wanna-
any?
they don't wanna dig across the road, cause the water main's on the other side.
There's a pretty hefty
J
list.
Oh, J Drive, okay.
Okay,
All right, thank you, Eric.
no. Water, now put your water commissioner's hat on. Is that like this?
Yeah,
Kind of.
Consider a water connection request by the Heffernan Family Trust for new water connections for 7 new residential units off of J Drive. And Valerie in her notes said that, first of all, she was a little, Valerie, if I remember right, you said the,
The water allocation is for 6 lots, not 7.
right,
Correct.
there is 7 lots there.
Yeah. I
There's-
mean,
there's
according
the
to the
7
plan,
lots.
there's 7 lots.
Yeah.
yeah, looks like 7 to me, if I can do the math.
Well, is the allocation, is that gonna be a problem, Val, the allocation?
You know what?
I would just,
You know what? Maybe the reason the allocation was for 6 is because there's already
Double lot.
2 lots.
there's the 2 lots in the front, there's already 2 curb stops there.
but then it
That
would
may be,
5, wouldn't it?
I know, but I'm just trying to figure out why it would be different than what there is for lots.
yeah, I don't
There's 2.
know. I can always issue another updated. I could issue an updated allocation letter, but what this is for the actual approval from the Water Commission to do the connections, to calculate what they are and what conditions apply. The water
So my
allocation letter is
understanding
just,
and
yeah, something.
reading your notes, there's gonna be the two connections that are curb stops are already in Plank Road, right, that are already there.
They're already tied in.
They're already
See,
there.
What
Right?
originally, just so you're aware of the history, what originally happened was, they got water allocations for 3 lots.
On J
The-
Drive.
On J Drive, the Tierney lot, which was 2 acres, the front lot, which was 2 acres, and the back lot, which was 2 acres, and then with the, zoning change, it changed the lot size. And that's why, that's why there's more lots there now, and that's why they need more water. I have a real problem with everything we have going on with water. I spent all day today on the phone. I talked with Jill, I talked with, Steve Palmer. I talked with Kevin,
LaRose.
LaRose. I also talked with Jason Barnard. And I think that we as a group need to sit down and come up with criteria that works for everything. And when we did our water ordinance, I don't think that we had the foresight to realize that all this stuff was gonna happen. You know, we now have 3 different projects in the pipeline that need to be approved. And every one of them, we're using different criteria. And I think we need to sit down as water commissioners, we need to sit down with our water operator, our engineer, and we need to come up with something so that we as a board shouldn't be making these decisions. We should have the criteria for these decisions, and then it should go to Valerie or our water operator or somebody in our administration that says yay or nay, and then it comes to us and it's blessed.
Okay.
And I don't want, I don't want this to look like I'm trying to gain anything out of this, because I'm not. Whatever you decide to do is what they will do there. But I just think that with this project, with Adam Thomas's project, and even Joel's got a project I think that we should sit down and have a set of rules that we're gonna follow. And I don't think that this meeting is the meeting to have that discussion, because basically, we did it with Adam Thomas, and I know that Jill felt, the conversations I had with her, I know that she was uncomfortable, because you've got the customer sitting right there. I've got an idea, Joel's got an idea, Jill's got an idea, and we shouldn't be having those conversations in front of the customer. We should have a set plan and go from there. As far as this project here, they're not gonna need water for a while. I don't know, I don't know the feelings, I don't know Jill's feelings as far as doing the curb connection and getting the 4-inch in, and then if we end up putting a meter pit in there, that can be installed afterwards, or however we decide that we're gonna move forward.
So can we have that meeting and those conversations and then come back to this particular one?
Yes.
Okay. I
think the one thing that they would like to do is to make the 4-inch connection, but I don't know. And Jill, what's your thoughts on that? Is that something everything should be in place before that 4-inch connection's made, or is that a given in the design that's not gonna change the stuff we discussed today?
So you're proposing tapping a 4-inch private line off of a public distribution line to connect 5 lots, is what I'm understanding, because the other 2 in the front will go to the presumed existing 2 curbs. I think the tricky part is just we're continuing to have this conundrum of what happens when you're not pulling single services that are tapping off the main, and all of a sudden you're creating these quasi distribution lines that are private. I think that's the part where there needs to be some standardization and just kind of a set of standards of how things are to be done, so that it's just that the rules they're just the same for everybody across the board. If they're whenever you tap a water main, you're creating a potential for contamination. So there's always got to be an insured contractor. There's always got to be a water operator present for the tap. I'm hoping that they're all wet taps so that water services don't have to be shut off. Anytime that happens, we have to do notices, we have to do boil water, and then take samples and clear boil water. So it's like massively time consuming and disruptive to your neighbors. So I'm just looking at it as, how do we preserve water quality, make sure that the water systems portion of each of these new services is still maintained in some type of public right of way. And then what do we do about being able to have individual customer relationships with each water customer that would be connected to the water main, to be able to have them be metered, to be able to have them have a curb when now we're outside of the right of way. And we're outside of
What
the.
do towns do?
Well,
I mean, what does Middlebury do?
I think it can all be addressed. I just don't know that we need to get into those weeds at this meeting. I think it's a meeting where that should be dedicated just to that, so that the ideas can come out. I mean, we're definitely, I talked to Jill for probably a half hour, 45 minutes today, the same with Steve and Kevin and Jason, and I feel the conversation, the ideas need to come out, and everybody needs to be able to hear them, and I don't think that this is the meeting for that.
Yeah.
No, I think we ought to have one water commissioners meeting before June, before their annual meeting. So then if we do make some changes, that we vote on them at our annual meeting and put the changes publicly on the agenda, that water commissioners, their annual meeting will be in June, it usually is.
Well, we can.
Here are the recommendations they are recommending
Yeah.
for change.
I believe we can change our ordinance. I believe we did last time. And I think, Jill's absolutely right. She was very frustrated when we're saying, what's the problem with hooking on here? Well, there may not be a problem, but currently we don't have any way of dealing with the what ifs down the road. And we definitely need to have that, and we need to have a set of rules so that when, and these three aren't gonna be the last three that we deal with.
Right.
And I just think that, we talked about having this, I don't know if we ever formally talked about it. I know that Jill and I had the conversation, or maybe Cy and I had the conversation about, we need to sit down at the table and we need to come up with these rules. And now we're in a position where we feel like we're pressured and have to do it quick. And I think it has to be done in a timely manner. But I think it also needs to be done with the players at the table that are gonna have to deal with it. We discussed a lot of different ideas today, and like I said, I don't think this is the meeting for those ideas to come out.
Okay.
And I think possibly it may not be that the ordinance changes per se, it may be that you have a set of construction standards that the ordinance points to.
And actually it does that now, but it's empty. It's a blank appendix. And we did that intentionally so that when we do attach them, we don't have to go through the whole ordinance amendment process, which is cumbersome and time consuming. It's not a quick thing.
Yeah, so.
But I think a lot of this can be addressed with a lot of the stuff that we talked about today. A lot of this can be addressed fairly easily. It's just that we need the input of everybody, and I don't think we want to spend an hour or 2 hours talking about it now.
No, okay, so we're gonna table number 3. We're not gonna.
I would say, but I would say that we need to
Make a meeting.
we need to set a meeting, and maybe we can, maybe we can't, but maybe we can have it resolved so that we can vote on it next select board meeting.
So we don't put it.
Or maybe we
Have
can
a
do it.
meeting Before then.
Yeah,
So
or
we don't
maybe
put
we
it-
can do it at that meeting as water commissioners, if we can come
If
to
it's a light agenda, we could have cause I do have some concerns
Why
too.
don't you just plan on having a meeting next Monday? That's just water commissioner.
We could do that.
I mean, rather than try and feel, to me, if you do it during a regular meeting, I feel pressure.
Yeah, I do
I
too,
just-
and that's why that's why I say this is not the meeting to bring up
No.
all the concerns that I have. And it's not just with this project, it's with the other 2 projects as well. And I, when we had Adam here, I had concerns, and it's like, we shouldn't be making these decisions with, Jill said, we shouldn't be making these decisions with the customer setting here. We should have a set of rules that we follow. So that we don't have to make decisions in front of the customer.
Right.
They come to us and we say, this is what you need to do. Under this circumstance, we're never gonna cover everything.
No.
There's always gonna be an exception to the rule, but we need to be more
Right.
prepared.
Well, I think we want to
Michelle?
get to a place.
Sorry, Valerie, did you say something? Or
Sorry, I was
Jessica?
going to ask, I was gonna ask Michelle if she thinks, or if you guys, if
Yeah,
Thinking.
Either she's thinking or she froze.
all of you think that maybe Kevin Brown should be part of that conversation from the legal perspective. Say that again?
We keep losing you,
we
Val.
keep losing you, Valerie. We got Kevin Brown and something.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so I was just wondering if it would be worthwhile to have Kevin Brown at the table for this, from the legal perspective.
Well, I think that might not be a bad thing, because some of the ideas I have are legal ideas. I know that, we need our water operator there.
I'd like our engineer also.
We should have our engineer there. Is there anybody else that you think should be there?
Maybe even highway, honestly, just because a lot of this is under the road. And a lot of it is in his right of way. So I don't mean to be a jerk to Eric, but a lot of the water projects really impact his infrastructure as well, or that department's infrastructure as well. And honestly, water is used for
He's throwing daggers at you, Jill.
I'm sorry, water is also used for fire protection. So my ask back several months ago was, can we please get all the department heads and the water commission together, because we're about to get hit with a bunch of new developments and we don't have a consistent set of rules to review them, and I'm not looking forward to this without input from everybody and a really
Consistency is what we need.
I mean, figure you're absolutely right. I mean, Jill and I had conversations in early March. My hopefully little project and some.
So let's
priced
just
it
see
out.
if we can do it Monday. I mean, I don't know if Kevin
And
Steve
Steve
can
are
be
available,
there,
yeah.
but
Well, Steve
we
was
can
supposed to
ask.
be here tonight, but he had a
solar
eclipse
meeting, or
eclipse party. And and Kevin was gonna come, but Kevin had the same thing, and both of them said it probably wouldn't be appropriate for them to be here.
So,
The eclipse was over at 4:37. Come on.
Yeah, well, then that,
That's when the party started.
I
yeah.
can't believe none of our restaurants were open.
So Valerie, is that something, we'll table this, number 3, we won't vote on this next Monday, we'll get the parameters
Okay.
done, I believe, what I'm hearing from Peter and Michelle and Ian and Jessica. Please chime in, Jessica, anytime, I can see your hand go up. So we'll discuss a lot of things on Mondays. It's not a select board meeting, it's water commissioners, as a select board of water commissioners. We're not gonna pay orders, we're not gonna do.
No, it's a water commissioners
Meeting.
yeah.
And that's all on the agenda. And
Okay.
if Steve and Kevin can't be there, I would let us know, maybe we can reschedule it some other time. But I agree with Peter. I have questions, and Jill has been very helpful, tried to answer them for me over there. We changed a few things, but it's nothing. Kevin is handling it for me also. But I'm a long ways from coming to the board, but it will be late May or early June that I'll be asking for 3 or 4 connections myself.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Since I have city water and sewer where I live, my water shut off is in the middle of my lawn. I'm wondering if it would make sense, I could call and see if we could get what ordinance they have for any new developments and how they approach it.
that wouldn't be bad to have it in front of us next Monday. And I'm gonna ask Middlebury for theirs. That's one of the concerns I've told Jill that I have, is about shut-offs here in town are not in the right of way, not all of them.
No, mine's in the middle of my lawn.
And
I have some thoughts about that. I have some other thoughts about shut-offs that Jill and I discussed. So, like I said, I don't feel we have the time
no,
to deal
I
with
agree with you.
that.
No, okay, so Valerie, is that something you can, I hate to put
Yep.
another piece of bread on your plate, but
That's
It's
tax
okay.
day.
that's tax day. We can meet just to do water and concerns. And like I said.
Well, I don't know if I wanna be here when people got their taxes. Well, they'll already be done.
Be done.
Right.
Make it early if you could, maybe 6 o'clock, figure.
Yeah,
You're not starting the pit yet, but you're getting there. So, does that work for everybody? Jessica, that work for you? Next Monday, 6 o'clock, nothing at the college?
Ian.
Ian?
Yeah,
I
That's
was going
six.
around, I was going,
You're
yeah,
saying
I don't wanna leave her out, I think, I
Yeah, I
didn't
know.
see her here, so. She didn't give me a thumbs up,
yes, you did.
did she?
Yeah, she
Okay,
nodded.
all right, so we'll let this one ride till, maybe we can do that in 2 weeks after we get some stuff answered next week.
Okay,
Ian, is there
Sounds
anything
like a
for
plan.
something specific?
Consider, yeah,
Next,
consider road name, I already asked. him.
okay.
Consider road name request for 2 new roads off of J Drive, Russell Drive, and I think it's now Sisters Way and not Mason Way. I saw it was crossed out on Valerie's.
it
Yes, it's
started out as
Sisters
Mason's Way,
Drive.
but now it's Sisters.
Okay, take it under ourselves to change that. Sisters Way. Okay.
And I'm not aware of any conflicts with other names that might be, that they might be confused with.
Is Crystal doing this stuff?
Yes, Chris still doing the
Yes.
911 stuff?
Yes, yes.
Zero.
And he did
just
not raise any
asking,
concerns about that.
Okay.
Is there a Russell Lane or Russell Drive, or is that in Starksboro?
There's a Russell Young Road in Stark.
Yeah, I know, but the one on the backside of,
That's
That
Eddie Orvis. right?
that's Eddie over, okay, okay. We don't
I
have,
think
It
that- I
scares me
can tell
that
you-
you know what he was talking about.
well, he knew.
What Eric was talking about?
No, what he was talking
He knew
about.
up by Memorial Park on the backside.
I
that
knew-
little bit of section of road is ours.
A lot of times I know what Joel is talking about, and that's why I harass him, because he doesn't ask the question he intends to ask, but.
Easy. So any other thoughts on this, Valerie, for go to the order before we, or any questions for anybody?
I'm guessing the Russells is coming from the fact that Russell Drive is
The two of
one,
them.
there's one Russell there now and the possibility of another one, and
They
I'm
bought 2 lots.
guessing that the sisters is because my 2 sisters
Live on that road.
live right there, yes.
That's what I thought. That's, see, figuring, I think I knew that.
No, we don't think alike.
No,
So moved.
there's a motion,
Second,
there's a second by Michelle. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Consider approval of a loan document for DWSRF loan RF 3477 3.0 related to the Pine Street Waterline Replacement Project.
Nope, I don't wanna get along.
you
I
know
want
how,
the state to pay for
how
it.
pissed off.
Oh, I read that, Valerie, my, that was boiling.
I was like, okay, that's.
I said,
twice
this
the
is West
size.
Street all over again.
Mhm. And if we could, I would love to be able to plan so that we never have to borrow money from them again. But I can't see how we can do that with the projects coming up.
Jill had an interesting idea, and I don't know if you thought any more about it, Jill, but she was like, can we extend the project down Taylor Avenue or one of those and get the extra $300,000 or $400,000 we need in there and call it a change order and get the damn thing covered?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that yet, because just to let you guys know, we have tried many different roads to try to get this grant eligible, like many. We've involved
Hmm.
senators, okay? I might even be madder than you, because I've worked with this loan program since I was 21 years old. I'm 46, so I'm very angry. I feel very misled, and I'm just thinking, what made this not grant eligible is we didn't spend quite enough. We didn't take on enough debt. So can we do a change order?
Is that just, sorry, asinine? I mean, it's
Well-
just like,
Well,
why,
so-
you're dinging us because we didn't
Yeah.
spend enough money.
Because we were fiscally responsible, we get porked.
Yes, yes.
And if we had known ahead of time, if we had known sooner, if they had been able to turn any attention to our applications sooner,
Yes.
then the outcome could have been different
Yes,
on
before
many different
November.
ways.
There's a
Before
part of you that
November,
says, was it intentional?
Can we? Have we tried the governor's hotline?
Well, I thought of that, Picker, or at least identifying, reaching out to our senators.
We did
I
that.
said, you know, represent,
I think you've
oh, we
done
did that
that.
already? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And what did that do?
Well,
Nothing?
basically, as I understand it, the formula is the formula is the formula, and they can't do anything about it. It is what it is, and we just didn't meet it. So
So
I just
can
don't,
not
we,
willing to defend anything or make any kind of accommodations or even kind of considerations for the lengthy delay, you know, no consideration.
well, it was a lengthy delay in our change order. We've been waiting for it and we just got it.
Well, the lengthy delay was from them.
No, what
I
I'm
know
saying
what you're
is to
saying.
get
Yeah, I
us,
get what you're
to
saying.
get us over the dollar amount. I don't know if that's, I don't wanna spend another 300,000 and end up having to borrow $1 million instead of 700,000, but.
I have
I
a
mean, is
feeling
that- is it a
that
possibility?
approach, I have a feeling that will not work because they scrutinize every aspect of the proposal. They scrutinize the engineering contract, they scrutinize just a lot of the different components of the project.
And they
And
couldn't tell
so-
us ahead of time that we didn't meet the requirements.
Nope.
I mean, that's the way it
Well,
was
they
sold to
stopped
us. It's the
communicating
same
with
way-
us altogether.
Same way West Street. I was so,
PO'd.
yeah, whatever's politically correct about West Street, that I said we would never do anything with the FDA again because they were so misleading. I mean, the guy sat right here at a meeting and told us we were eligible for 50 to 55% forgiveness. And then when we call him on the carpet, oh, he's been fired.
And we got 0%
Yeah.
interest or 0% money.
Well, we're doing it, they're doing it to us again.
And this is the state this
Right.
time.
I
And
mean,
they got
that's
how
what I said.
many $1 million of money to spend?
oh my
I
God,
know that they're just gonna have to give back.
the amount of ARPA grant that they have that they rolled into this clean water program is absurd. I'm blown away. The way they do their formula is very convoluted. It's not easy I'm a finance executive and I want the spreadsheet with the formulas. I don't want the copy paste picture. I want the spreadsheet with the formula so that I can keep working with it until I figure out how much we have to spend to get that grant. Well, I can't give you that. Why not? It's public money. I figured out.
So then
their
it should be
formula.
public information.
You know what? You just have to be, anyways, they base it all on the median household income and they take the indebtedness of the program. They take, I'm saying the program, the indebtedness of the water company, the bonding, your yearly budget. So basically, we have been running this water department, you guys, for many, many years and us for the last 8 or so very leanly that we haven't taken on enough debt or made it expensive enough yet to get grants. Through this program, the way that they've made their 5 layers of formulas to get to a 50% grant.
So this is where I said, I wanna get to a point where we don't have to borrow any money, cause then we're in control and not them.
Yeah.
Then you need to
when you're
read
talking
yourself.
$1 million, $2 million for a project, we just can't get there.
So supposedly, once we
I guess-
Long ago.
I guess a question for you, Jill or Valerie, either one of you jump in and try to answer it. This project was 600, 700, 800,000, I guess, when we get all said and done. Should we have
Done
Put
all
on-
of them.
done more streets and done them 2 million, so we get $1.5 million?
yes.
We still would have had 500,000 or 600,000 into it, and here we're not getting hardly anything.
Yes.
We didn't do enough streets.
Yes.
So in 26, should we not do 3 streets? Should we do 6?
No, we're enough in debt, so we qualify. If we do this
Yes.
loan,
Yes.
the next project will be enough in debt, so we
Oh,
qualify.
no.
Yeah.
Until they change the rules.
Yep, it's gonna sink you guys right into your indebtedness being well over the median household income, and now the water rates will have to go up significantly.
Which is not what we really wanna do.
No, but we do have to repair the system.
Well,
I still think we got some of the cheapest water rates in the state of Vermont.
Well,
I was talking to a girl.
Yeah, so if you go and raise the rates, we're gonna be right back in the, we won't be this time around, but had we raised our rates to where everybody else was, we'd have been so flush, well, we would have known ahead of time we didn't qualify.
No, you would have qualified because you'd be saving that money and your rates would be high and your indebtedness, because you have your other project, and this one, you would have gotten the grant. I'm not kidding. Why do you think I'm so mad? I'm very mad for a lot of reasons, but
So with the original calculation of this, when it was presented, and we were certain that we were gonna get the 50%, what has changed? Is it the physical budget amount of the project that we just finished was lower than what we initially thought it was? Or is it something else that's then changed?
Once they put all the numbers into the formula, she said we had too much money, or we didn't have enough debt.
didn't have enough debt to the median
Or
household.
you make too much money. If you'd made $5 less last year, Ian, we'd have qualified. I mean, that's how close it is. It's not.
I mean, if that's
it's not only that, you also have the planning loan, which now we're paying 2% interest on
And we were
for the
told
next
that was
30
gonna,
years. So it's supposed to be 0% interest and 0% admin fee. So what's 2% on what our total amount of borrowed is?
It's
I mean,
$250,000.
Right, and that's like, that's
Annual.
stupid. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Mhm.
No kidding.
Again, they sold us a bad bill of goods.
Could we at least do a change order to grind and pave that street?
It's not
They
eligible.
won't cover any of the paving besides the patching that was
We
done.
we
way their
didn't put
rules are.
grinding and paving in because it wasn't covered.
What about the
Stormwater.
wastewater, stormwater?
Stormwater.
They won't
What about
cover it
that?
because it's not part of
not
drinking
water.
water. It's not part of drinking water. And the interim financing that you needed for the year and a half, they didn't give you your money. They won't cover that interest either. That always used to be covered in this loan.
Yep,
So-
interim financing.
So can
There's
we go higher in terms of reaching out to people? If we've talked to senators, can we go higher than that?
That's the governor.
You guys are the governing body of your town, and you are the commission of the water department. I feel that you have the right to go as far and as high as you want to.
What are you guys short on, Peter?
We didn't spend enough
I
money.
don't know, how much? I mean, is there a dollar amount that you?
Yeah, like
know?
300,000.
Initially, I mean.
We were supposed to get
because- yes.
50%, we got.
Well, the reason
20.
I'm asking is because the paving. that
No,
they did-
paving's not eligible.
It is where they cut the road.
And we already got that. That's already in the $750,000.
Yeah, but you can make them come back and redo it, cause it came out like crap. And
Mhm.
all the valves that are in the center of the streets, the,
All settled.
yeah, they've all settled, shoot, they've gone down a foot.
But that would be, see
That would be
that,
covered under warranty work. or
Warranty.
whatever, so to speak.
yep.
Okay, so that wouldn't help out.
Yeah, that doesn't create new costs. It just creates pains in the bum. Yeah, I mean, it's just very insulting to be disincentivized for being cost effective and having good bids and having a project that didn't have a bunch of change orders that made it more expensive. And
Yeah, well, we were all excited about getting a good number
mhm.
because our project was out early and it was a good project.
We had
and-
11, 9, 10, maybe 11 bidders. And
Yeah, I mean, it just, to think that we get penalized for something like that, it just really bites.
Well, especially since you're about to continue to use their program and continue to pay their interest rates for the next very many years, and they can't
For
look at that
years.
whole relationship and say, oh, you have 9.5 miles of water line to still replace, you still need to borrow $12 million. Well, let's make sure we get you some of this grant since it's not gonna last forever. Instead, it's, we use this formula and everybody goes in this thing the same way, and oh, look at that, you just missed it.
Okay. So what's your pleasure, people?
We don't have a choice. I mean,
No,
our hands
sure.
are tied.
Yeah, we gotta pay the loan.
Is it to the state?
No, it's the bond bank.
Right.
Oh, this is to the bond bank?
2% admin fee is a 2% interest rate. Do you know that fees and interest rates are now interchangeable language?
So.
Oh, bureaucracy.
Yes.
What I do wonder, since we do need the money, the general fund has paid all of this out so far. I do wonder if somewhere down the line, we can somehow refinance or renegotiate it and kind of issue a new loan document, and if we can figure out a way to make it better.
As a
For the
board,
state, you mean?
as a board, we need to at least know what this payment's gonna be, so it goes into the water fund or comes out of the water fund.
Oh, it's in the loan agreement.
Because-
It shows you an
Because we have
amortization
to,
schedule.
we have to have a number. If we gotta raise the rates, we gotta raise them in June at the annual water meeting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
$45,000.
because this is more than what we were planning on.
Yeah, it's $45,000 a year for 30 years.
I
And
don't
that's
think
just
it
the
kicks
first
in
one,
right
and
away.
that's just Pine Street, you know?
I think it's November of this year because it's 12 months from substantial completion of the construction project.
According to the, let me share this and see if this helps. According to this, it starts in March.
Oh, good. It's 34,000.
March of 2025.
Good, 34,000, not 45.
And starting next year, 2025, we need to begin payment on the original planning loan for the preliminary engineering work. And I think that's like 50, what did I say here?
And that
56.
doesn't qualify? Or it's not enough to help us?
I thought
I
they rolled
think that was
that.
that should have been factored in already.
They didn't roll that into this loan?
No, it's separate, completely separate loan document. Executed, when was it signed? Let's see. Let's see.
I'm almost sick.
What's the date?
Look at the top of the loan, probably.
Oh, in Shadow's chair.
He signed that, damn it. I think Ian.
Oh,
put
it's
my
only,
signature
it's
in
only
there.
28,000.
Not even on that.
Right.
So it's
But
not
still,
enough
this
to-
loan had been deferred for 5 years. It's a 5-year loan at 0% interest.
Is there an admin fee?
If there's a plus, that's it,
No,
0%.
Good.
Well, that's why they had to have the 2% admin fee on the other to
Right,
make
they're
up
gonna
for.
make it up for the other end.
I mean, do we wanna, as a town, go to the governor's office?
I think we should.
I do too.
I mean, we were told this, although. What'd you say, Jill, that everyone says shall or may or could
It
or?
says you may. They don't say you do or that you will, is that it's a future calculation. You may be eligible for up to 50% loan forgiveness.
And they have stated, in written document that says you didn't get the 50%, we got what, 25?
We didn't get anything.
Zero,
Didn't get
you got
any.
nothing. You
Zero.
We got nothing
Yeah.
because we didn't spend enough.
yes,
And
Yes,
they
because-
stated that. They stated
Yes.
that.
yes, I have it.
I
in
think
it. We
that
have
we
it.
could go and say, here, we're trying to be,
Fiscally responsible, and we're not getting money because we were.
kind of like
We
the old
did,
folks
however, qualify for 50% forgiveness on the planning loan. So what was originally $37,000 is now 18 something. So.
But it's still over, it's still
2% over
interest
30 years. Yeah, yeah.
On that 18,
Yeah.
on that 18?
Yeah,
You can't
18.
pay that early?
We could just pay that right back now, I guess.
You
Deduct it from,
You
If
could.
you say the 2% over 30 years, that's more than 18.
What senators have we talked to?
Bray. Christopher.
well, I
Just
copied, And Amy Sheldon, I never got a response from her, but I did copy both of them. In my letter to
What about our other
Julie
one?
Moore.
Ruth
What
and
about Ruth or
Caleb?
Caleb or Mary? Our representatives.
And Caleb wants to be our senator this time around, so.
I mean, if you guys
Maybe-
wanna try one more time, I know that Amy was pretty thorough in showing that we were not eligible for any loan forgiveness. We were still 2 steps away because it wasn't enough debt and it wasn't enough cost compared to the median household income in Bristol.
I mean, I guess it's gonna be hard for us to all do that without all the specific details, you know? I mean,
I really don't care about any of that. It was sold to us that they wanted us to do this work on our water line. And the reason we entered into this was because we were told that we were eligible for 50% forgiveness. And we pushed to get it done. I mean, we jumped through a lot of hoops to get it done, and then we got a really good price because of when we let it out for bid and how we did the project. Opposed to, we didn't make them have traffic control. We did a lot of things to keep the cost down, and we're being penalized for it. And I think that right there should be enough to get somebody higher up to say, hey, wait a minute.
So do you want to hold off on executing this loan or execute it and hope that we can somehow refinance it or reissue it later?
This is through the state?
Yep.
This loan?
With
Or it's through a
federal
bond?
funds.
Excuse me, we didn't hear you.
It's through the state, but federal dollars. So they feel that they have to follow all the federal rules, that there is no room for wiggle.
I would say hold off, and we should still have a discussion, because if we don't, we lose some of our bargaining or some of our
Mhm.
what
think
little
we-
power we have.
I think at the minimum, we need to ask some more questions higher up. Say,
Well,
we were
I
sold
mean,
a bill
I
of
think-
goods.
And talk to more people, rally our representatives and our
So
senators, and
is
talk
it-
to the governor.
I
If
mean-
it's federal money, why don't we talk to our,
I don't know,
Federal
is
rep-
is it federal money?
it's federal money that was given to
State.
the state.
I mean, Val, I don't know if you and Jill can put together some bullet points of what we knew, what was told us, whatever. And then I don't know if we do it as one and just send it to all of them. Whether you send it to the governor, send it to our senator, send it to the reps, send it to, everybody we
Federal-
can.
yeah.
Well, if it's federal money, we send it to them as well.
Right, that's what I'm saying, everybody we can.
Said if we'd gone with a higher price, the 1.7 or 1.3, we might have qualified, but then we didn't feel that was prudent because we were spending,
That
overspending.
wasn't physically responsible.
We're getting penalized for being fiscally responsible. So is that what, Michelle, you want Valerie to work on?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for any of us to just send an email out because I don't have all the details.
Right.
I mean, and I don't know if we send it out, one of us sends it out on behalf of all of us, if Val sends it out on behalf of all of us, or.
Can we get the facts together and we just all sign it?
That's what I was asking Val and Jill to put the facts together, and then we can, whether we do a letter,
Yeah,
and we all sign it next and then email it to all of them.
Yep. Any thoughts on
It's
that,
just
Valerie or
frustrating.
Jill? Or Jessica?
I guess we'll do the best we can. This is a little bit out of my wheelhouse and comfort level, but
And they can't pull the loan offer away from us because we're questioning our eligibility for a grant because we're so darn close, can they?
I don't think so.
I don't think it hurts to ask at least if we got, okay, we're gonna lower your administrative fee to 1%, but you weren't eligible. At least we got something.
oh, 1% is $100,000 over
Yep.
the course of
Some of the
loan.
other steps is that they could have lowered the interest rate to 0 and they could have extended the loan to 40 years. So neither was offered. It was 2% at 30 years, which is literally the worst case scenario.
They're
Because
just trying to stick it to us.
Yeah, I mean, but we do need to answer get it, because if it's starting due in March first or whatever.
Well, we're water commissioners next Monday
We have to make a
night, so-
decision to put it in the June, annual meeting
Yeah.
to raise the rates.
Well, we're
If not,
water
Sharon's gonna
commissioners
be
next
short.
Monday night, so if we have a letter,
March
we can
25th.
sign it, and it's all germane to what the meeting is.
Okay, is that
Sounds like a
something you
plan.
think you two, Valerie, you and Jill will have something together by next Monday?
Well, we'll certainly try.
Yeah, and Valerie, I think the starting point is gonna be Amy's determination letter, the most
Right.
recent one that she sent.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, I need an interpreter.
I know that this spreadsheet,
Is there anyone else on town staff that it's more in their wheelhouse, Val, that could assist with this?
Well, Jill and Steve, really.
I mean, I think there's really, it's not, don't make it too complicated, Val. I mean, I think I would just put the letter to, you know, dear all,
Yeah.
whatever, and say,
WTF.
yeah, you know,
Do it.
this is what we were sold, bill of goods of this is what we did, and. you
And
know,
we
these
were
are the
very,
facts.
we were very careful because this happened to us on another water project and we did not want to be in the same boat.
And what can you do about it? Because this is not, I mean,
Do
we feel like we're getting screwed.
Michelle, do we have an hour or two of Kevin's time to get with Valerie and Jill?
I don't, it's up to you guys. I mean, I think it would be better to have
I'm just asking.
have the letter written and let him.
He
look
may
at
know
it.
the bullet points to say,
Yeah.
reach, hit
I would-
here, hit there. It might be.
That was one of my questions I wrote down. Should we get Kevin involved?
is he a political lawyer?
Not really. I mean, he's a
To me,
municipal
this
lawyer.
is
He's a
very-
municipal, I know he represents West Rutland. I've seen them many times in the Rutland Herald.
Can we find a political lawyer?
I know,
Yeah,
I just
no.
find that this is very like, it's very political. It's, to me, it's. Hmm.
Jessica, you got
We
any
get
thoughts?
Martin Harding and Mazzotti to do a TV commercial.
Yeah,
Jessica, you got any thoughts?
they certainly are not.
I know you've gathered a lot of information tonight. Your head must be spinning a little bit. You got any for us?
No, I
So-
mean, I agree with the approach. I think we need to try to see if anybody can, you know, help and have any influence over the process. I mean, otherwise, it seems like we're taking on a lot of debt that we didn't plan to take on. So it makes sense to push back and see if we can get any relief.
Yeah, maybe if they're all involved, maybe between all of them, they can get something done for us.
Mhm.
What branch is this through?
So it's,
Agency of Natural Resources, Environmental Conservation, Water Investment Division.
Mhm.
yes,
Okay,
yep,
I don't,
WID, and
Yeah.
Don't know anybody?
I don't know anybody in those.
Can't you go up there
I
and
think
start
it's-
kicking down some
I think
doors?
it's
Well-
Alan Hammond's brother is the director of that division now.
I have a lot of friends up there, but not.
Not that
Okay,
division.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so you guys, I guess, got your marching orders and Valerie, I know that's, we put a lot on your platter. We've gone from a plate to a platter now.
I'm gonna have to
Well,
rent
I'd
a
say
trailer.
this one's a big one.
I
This
know.
one's a big one.
But also too, to have this information and for us to be able to have it, and if we want to approach people individually,
Yeah.
I think that's good as well. I think sending the letter out is one thing, but I think talking to people individually and just saying, look, we really need you to look at this. I think
What's
that
the-
If we all
the-
did that, I think that.
Yeah,
that's
the
making
name of this program was the Clean Water.
It's your drinking water state revolving loan fund. And what happened is the state took some of the ARPA funds and instead of delivering them as grants directly, they put this chunk of money into the state revolving loan funds. Some of it into drinking water and some of it into clean water, which think of clean water as dirty. That's your wastewater and your stormwater. Drinking water is what you drink.
Gotcha.
Drinking water, SRF.
Okay,
Cause I know somebody at the federal level that I can reach out to that might be able to make some waves.
Good.
Jill, what's the
Yeah,
name
so
of the
they'll
fellow
never
that lives
offer
in?
us any loans
No,
ever
no,
again.
actually,
That's part of me thinks so.
actually, she has been very instrumental in making sure that some of the other organizations I work with have gotten their money.
Okay,
Right. That sounds good.
all righty. Well, it's another one we're gonna have to table for the moment, Valerie, sorry.
Oh, that's
You got any
okay.
more questions?
Just want to point out that there's a fellow that lives in Virgins, Neil Kamen. He's a higher up. He's the director of the Water Investment Division.
That's
And
him.
yeah, so we'll definitely include him. He was contacted after I wrote the letter to Julie Moore. He did get involved, but apparently nothing came of that.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, thanks. Review and approval of the ACRPC municipal mini grant proposal. I believe this is the one you just sent us this afternoon late for guardrails study, the $10,000, is that right?
Yep.
it's part of, it's including with the other ones too. There's gonna be 5 of them.
Bristol
Right.
branding, feasibility study for reuse of.
The website,
And
yeah.
the website and electronic board.
okay,
I mean, there are some
So
you
do-
could choose not to submit if you don't agree or think that we don't want to over compete with ourselves.
Right, we were, the last time we met 2 weeks ago, we sort of, Val mentioned this to us, and so we've sort of tried to work through and come up with something. You mentioned the guardrails, we're gonna put that in. There was the reuse of the DPW facility, potential for that.
and that's one I would like to hold off on personally.
Okay,
I think
Not yet, all right.
we're not there yet.
okay,
Because we're not sure when we're gonna, put to the voters a building,
right,
and whether we'll keep some of that over there or a little bit of that over there for, keeping a loader up here for moving someone Main, those types of things.
well, I think it's the idea, for that would be to figure out what those buildings could be used for, which would then inform perhaps what we want to do with them. Like, do you do one before the other? Or I guess do you, as part of like the building study, would this be included in that potential?
Right.
Like what would make the determination of like, if we do keep those buildings, how would that process go? Like, would having a study like this help that, or would we do our own study anyway as part of that project?
There's only 2 of those buildings we're keeping, if we keep any of them.
Right,
One of them's a salt shed down in the hole, and the other one is
Right.
the
Agree.
green barn that's been all redone.
right.
What
So
do you
the-
do with the other building, tear down?
I mean,
You can't use it, I mean, that's.
Yeah, the idea was that if those buildings became available, I think the recreation department has big ideas for them. And so would that then inform what we thought about the facility down on Hewitt Road? Like if there was a plan for the salt shed to reimagine it as something else, and for the green building, those would then have to be designed.
But I thought the intent was to eventually move everything down there anyway. To Hewitt Road.
Only DPW,
Right,
right,
so which means those buildings are not gonna be DPW anymore.
correct. But the idea was, I think in terms of this, would be, could those buildings be used in a,
Could they be repurposed?
yes.
Okay.
For recreation, or is it beyond the scope of what can be done, or the expense to renovate those buildings because they're a particular type of building versus what you might build for recreation? So that was the idea of that. And so I didn't know if we do this study, does it help us with then how we think about the DPW facility on Hewitt Road and what we would include in that?
Hey, look, we can use this for this, this and this.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
it makes more sense to move everything all at once than to
Right.
do it a little at a
Right.
time.
I think the recreation department is trying to make a case for why these buildings could be, if the study shows, a really good thing for the town in terms of what they're imagining there, like indoor rock climbing, indoor skate park, and other things, indoor pickleball, all things that we don't have, that neighboring towns don't have. And that could be revenue earners for the department.
I guess my point is, I'm trying to get is, I think it's just a little early,
Okay,
because we haven't even answered how we're gonna solve the question of, do we drive the loader up here every day, or every time he's gonna move snow at night on a main street? Do we drive every time we gotta plow the sidewalks? If all the buildings are gone,
Mhm.
what do we do that? And then the next question, as a taxpayer, if I was, put my taxpayer hat on, and which I am, and not on a select board, could they say, well, if they were good enough to repurpose for the rec, why aren't they good enough to use for his town garage? That's a question I would wanna know. And so I think it's a little early for that list. That list is long.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
only 10 grand.
oh, yes,
Just-
no,
And that's why I thought it was just I mean, my suggestion of the guardrails is going to make implications later on down the road, years from coming. They come back and said, yeah, you need 300 feet of guardrail, it's gonna cost you $150,000. We're gonna look over here and go, can you do that with 3,000 instead of $2,500 a year? We're gonna have to make a decision on, that will help me in budgeting. That's all I brought that in for. was
right,
More guardrail study and whether we need more for safety of the roads or. Eric will admit that we don't put enough in guardrail, but his budget is, he tries to keep a lean budget, as we all the departments do.
right.
We don't
If
have,
nobody ever goes off the road there, we don't need guardrails there.
well, I'm thinking the upper notch.
Yeah, I know where you're thinking.
I'm curious about the electric message board. Where did that thought come from? I mean, at one point, they tried to put it out front here and everybody
So that,
jumped down for kid's
Amos
throat,
could
but.
probably answer
In May of 2000, Amos Martin, May of 2017, a young person brought this forward and over 2 meetings with 60+ people in attendance of both, combined both, it didn't happen. And be it here, be it half a mile down the road, what's the difference? I really don't see a point in it at this point. In Front Porch Forum, the reverse phone calling that, if the water lines are down or boil water, we get a message on our phones now. So the point of a kiosk and electronic messaging, it looks tacky. So.
All right, thank you, Amos. Okay, so that was just my thought. I just thought, I don't wanna put the cart before the horse. I think those buildings can be used for something else. But it's the salt shed one, it's how do we store equipment to be used primarily in the village? It's a long drive up here to plow the sidewalks with that V plow.
well, so to me, it sounds like you favor keeping those buildings as
Not all of
DPW.
them, and I don't know yet. I just don't know. We don't know how big that's gonna be down there, or even if they're gonna get voter approval yet. I just don't wanna put the cart before the horse and having kick Eric out before they move into the rec.
No, I don't think that study does that. It says it allows the rec department to work on a proposal. If the town wanted to go in that direction, this could be a good use of those buildings. I think that's what it is. It's not trying to force out
No, I know.
DPW.
The other side of that is you could say that, this portion of the building could be used for rock climbing and you would still be able to store your sidewalk plow and your loader.
Right.
Yeah.
It would answer those questions. So when we were asked, are you taking everything away from the highway department? We could say, no, we're not. The study showed that they'd be able
Keep the sidewalk.
to commingle and.
I mean, it may not even be zoned for the rec over there.
It's zoned, there isn't recreation as a specific thing. It's zoned for community center, and that under that name, recreation is in that description.
Okay.
In the zoning. We talked to Chris about that. But I mean, part of it too is this could potentially works, not just involving rec department, but
It could
also
be
involving DPW. You're talking to
Or
Eric and you're talking
the
to.
police department,
Right, exactly.
storage for them.
Right.
And so I think, I don't think it's the cart ahead of the horse to see what the buildings could be utilized for. Your thought, if we were looking at it for just rec, yes, I would agree. But if we're looking at repurposing those buildings, what can those buildings be repurposed for the town? I think if we include all the departments.
Right.
Then I could live with that.
I think then it's viable. I don't think we wanna say, yeah, we're gonna turn them all to rec. I think we want what's gonna be the best
What
use
are all
of
the
it.
options?
I mean, we got a 50-foot box trailer out back behind the old barn that's got bikes in it, I believe, and some other crap or stuff from the police department from years ago, you know? I don't know, yeah, that, I could live with, what are we gonna repurpose the buildings for? Not any specific, one's gonna be a rock climbing thing and one's gonna be this. And
Well, you know, that's gonna be an option, but.
Right.
But
Oh,
it
yeah.
also,
Oh,
you
right.
know, does the.
what are the
police-
needs versus the
Does the,
wants?
can the police department use a portion of that for cold storage? So if you build a new building, you don't need.
Yeah.
You don't need that cold storage. Can can they store the sidewalk plow there? Those be commingled and make it work?
Okay,
I think that's,
yeah,
I think it's narrow sighted to just say rec.
okay.
Cause,
I mean, no, it's good. I mean, I think that was originally, I think, coming from the rec department. I was involved in their discussions. That's what they're thinking, because they're seeing the potential there, right?
They're looking
But
for
I think,
themselves,
but I think
yeah.
you're right. I think it needs to be broader, where we can see everything that might be used in those buildings, including what they're being used for now, just in a different way.
Yeah.
Because then that kind of study informs how we start to design what we're gonna have
Right.
down at Hewitt Road potentially.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
mean, because, you know, I think some questions moving, one of the reasons I like our location gonna be, possible location down there. But we've got some things to navigate with, as we say, he moved snow in the middle of winter on the main street. So do we keep the loader up here with the sand and salt pile there? Or do we move everything down there now, or?
right.
That's something to.
Or do we, no, wait, but I don't think it is for later on, but then do we have to own two loaders? I don't know that question.
You know, we're close enough so they can travel.
Well, I think out of the ones that are on here, I'm not big on this electronic message board. I kind of agree with Amos on that one. I just don't see that it's
There's a need.
no, I don't.
Well, then I'm gonna send all the people that are saying we don't advertise enough because I don't have anything out front, like I put my board out with my.
Taxes due, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people do not read front page form, I hear it all the time.
Mhm.
We do have the emergency management thing that we can send out, but it's only 300 of the customers in town.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's water, it's sewer, it's fire department, it's taxes, it's, you know, it wouldn't be out here. I know you didn't want it out here because it's a historic building,
No.
but the fire
board
department.
wanted it out here. The board wanted it out here.
Yeah.
Careful.
At that time, that board at
The
that
board
time.
at that time,
That board at
yeah.
that time wanted it out there.
It got shot down in flames,
Yep.
which is fine, but we were just thinking of another location. Fire department seemed like a good fit. I love the one they have in Newport. It has a lot of stuff on there. There's no burn stuff, there's no water stuff, there's all kinds of announcements on there. And, you know, I get a lot of people who complain because they think we should be sending out all kinds of notices in the
Oh my
mail, or
God.
there's nothing.
Read your tax bill.
And I get yelled at for my sign out here. Pete Bryan hated my sign out here, and I was like.
I hate
"What do you want me to do?
your
If I don't put
sign
it
out there.
I get yelled at because I have no other place to put it.
I mean,
So
I-
that's why we.
I think I would like a message board down there, but done tastefully.
Yeah, nothing like the Mount Abe one, but something that's a little different.
That said, you know, in May, it could be no burning permits or no burn or
Yeah.
high, you know, something. I've seen them, you know, I think the one at the front of the town offices in Heinsberg.
Okay, but you're only gonna get people who come up that hill.
Right,
Go
you are only
You're
gonna
not
get that.
you're not
I
gonna
agree
get
with
anybody
that.
40 miles an hour. Right on the corner, right around the corner. You're just gonna fly by that.
You hope you're
I mean,
doing
I
But
30.
if we don't have any way over here to put it. it's
Well,
like-
I know, I get that. Well, you do what Middlebury does. They put their little, like, they look at political signs. And they
Yeah,
park
the sandwich sign, I know.
taxes due.
Taxes due. They put a couple, they put one up on the round
They
by
put them
the
all over the
Middlebury
place.
Inn. Yeah, they put a few.
I'm,
On the
so,
way in, on the way out.
as people know, I was involved in the discussion about the one out here. I'm in favor of a kiosk out here. Let's make that very
Just not
clear.
Well, then you're gonna
Just
fight
not what
Jared
was
that's
proposed.
upstairs, 'cause she doesn't want anything out on that little patio.
No, I
grass.
know. So, but I think out here is a better location than the fire station, because I think it has a direct connection with the town versus what the fire station has. There are a lot of different things that you need to think about with it in terms of who's posting to it, how you're posting to it, how easy that is. and what happens throughout the year, how many postings you might do, what those things might be. So all that has to be thought out, because if you don't think about that, then it just sits out there, or you get frustrated because you're like, I can't even remember how to post to this, or it's not working, or it's broken, or all these different things. When you go to electronic versus paper. But I'm not against that. And there's e-ink stuff, which is like your Kindle, if people are familiar with those, where it can look really nice. It's not the same thing as what the school has. It's not that kind of board. You can get like this kind of thing, but then I don't think you need bright colors out there. I think that would work against the historic building. There are ways to do it though, both in both locations. But there's a lot of setup and running it, just like updating the website. You just have to get into the momentum of doing that. And
Well, I
knowing how
also
to do
get a
it.
complaint about the website because a lot of people don't have computers.
Right, no, I know.
It's not, the website's not easy to navigate.
No, it isn't. It's because it's
I like
150
that
years
on,
old.
I liked that suggestion on that.
Trying to move on that, yeah.
Jessica, your thoughts?
Yeah, I liked the website redesign. I think that that is something that would be really useful and it would help people find information that they're looking for. A lot of people keep complaining to me that they go on the website looking for information and can't find it and just give up and they're frustrated. So I thought that one looked really good.
Okay. What's your thoughts? of the-
Frustrated just running the
anything
computer.
else- Anything else on the list?
See,
Hold on. What's your thoughts on anything else on the list? We talked about, we mentioned the buildings in the town garage.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that is a good thing to do at some point, but I also think that it's a little bit early.
Okay,
Any thoughts
Valerie?
about the branding?
Yeah, the one for branding.
The
Yeah.
branding was part of the VOREC grant, the outdoor recreation grant that we've applied to twice. That was the branding part of that was in there. We didn't get it. I think I would rather focus on the website before the branding. I think those
I do
two
too.
go hand in hand, kind of. You kind of need both of them, but I think it was put into the VOREC because there were other parts of it that worked with the branding, worked along with it. And because we don't have those, I think just the branding by itself, I feel that it would be done and then it would be put on a shelf and we wouldn't use it necessarily, or it would take momentum to then get into that and actually use it. So I'd be concerned about that. Whereas with the website design, at least we would have a template or a mold. It's not necessarily redesigning the site, but it gives us a lot of information to move forward to have it done. So I think that's important. And then the branding, I think, becomes a part of that at a later date. But I like the website one and I like the feasibility study, changing it so it's sort of looking at all options, not just a recreation focus. Because then we take that, even if we do it now, we still have like a scoping study for a sidewalk or something. You have an information which then informs how we look at the new facility down on Hewitt.
Well, when we go to sell the new facility down on Hewitt,
That's right.
we can say, this is what we've come up with for the buildings we have left.
Right.
They're not gonna sit idle.
Right. Yeah. We can, Val, is there a limit to how many we can submit?
It didn't say, so that's
Okay.
why, okay, well, now, Chad, it also depends on who else applies. If anybody, if they get a pretty weak response, then they might be okay with providing more than one-to-one the same municipality.
Okay.
It's hard to know.
What are people's
And
thoughts
if
on the
we did,
guardrail?
if we did submit more than one, I would want to communicate which ones would be higher priority if they could only pick one.
Okay. What was the guardrail one? That's just a study for all
All the roads?
All, yeah, non-state roads, class 3, you know.
Okay.
Well,
No,
I
that
wondered
doesn't-
about that, because West Street is a class 1 and the guardrail across from the Maple Field stretch overlooking Lathrop Mill. I don't know what condition that guardrail is in, how long it's been there, and it's on a pretty kind of a treacherous slope. And if that's the town's responsibility or if that's the state responsibility. So that's why I included class 1 roads in the list.
Last time I knew the state did that, years ago, they replaced that
Yeah, they'll replace it on their schedule.
On their schedule.
Yeah, if we felt that we wanted it and it wasn't on their schedule, they'd probably tell us we could replace it.
Yeah. I guess for me, out of the 5, my top 2 would be the feasibility study for the DPW facility and the website redesign. I would pick those 2 out of the 5.
Okay. Michelle, thoughts?
So
The website. I mean, I'm fine with the guardrail one, and those would be my top 2. I mean, then after that, the feasibility study would be the next one down.
Okay. Jessica, your thoughts?
I liked the website one, the guardrail one, as long as we're not doing work that V-Trans is supposed to do. So as long as we're looking at our guardrails, I think that would be a good one. Otherwise, we can do the study, but they might not let us make any of those changes. And then I don't have a problem with doing the feasibility study. It's just, it would be like a lower priority for me than the website.
Okay, Peter?
I actually never use it, but I would say the website. I mean, but
Yeah.
I know there are a lot of people today that you say something about the town of Bristol and they're gonna, I had company this yesterday and today that, anything he wanted to know about Bristol, he
Right.
grabbed his phone and he was
Oh, yeah.
punching it in.
Yeah.
So I know that, even though it's not something that I use, I think it's something that should be
Easily navigate.
easily navigated and have the information we want on it. And then from there, I think if we're gonna try to sell a new public works building, we're gonna need a plan for what we're gonna do with the old one, so. That would be my top 2.
Okay. I didn't keep track, so mine were the website and my guardrails. I've been to enough accidents on our back roads. I'm thinking of coming down from the upper notch.
Well, I guess I would say between all of us, the 3 are.
Yeah, those 3.
Those
Those
3.
three.
And then I guess the
That's what I
priority,
was
if we had
thinking.
one, they could pick one, it would be the website.
Website.
I think that was on everybody's list, yeah.
And,
Okay.
I'm thinking of, Eric could probably give me a list of places where he thinks there should be guardrails on the town roads, not so much,
But if Eric can give us a list, why do we have to pay money to have a feasibility study? I guess that would be
I guess the fees, what I'm looking for. So when we're doing budget, what's the cost estimate for doing all this? And do we wanna do it? That's more for cost for me, Peter. Okay, we expect we'd like to see 300 feet or 100 feet.
But I think that's a number that he can. I'm not trying to say that I don't think the study should be done. What I'm saying is I think that's probably one that can be done in-house and efficiently, because guardrail is so much a foot. And if we as a board think we want to do 300 feet a year, Eric can tell us what 300 feet of guardrail is gonna cost.
Well, where you want it. I mean, do we have places where we want guardrails that aren't?
How many
currently?
times have we
That's
been
one
up to
piece.
Boss's Corner? Either we're out in the field, they rolled, or they come over Burpee Road and hit that intersection. How many times, and taking the pole out. And we've been asked by Green Mountain Power and the power company to move the pole, move the.
But does the study give us
I don't know.
information that we need to fix that problem, or?
I don't wanna get a purpose for a building yet that we don't know when we're gonna get out of. That's all. I think we apply another year for it. That's what I'm saying. but
Okay.
That's all my only argument.
Okay, all right, well, so I would keep all 3 of those in, and then if they could pick one. To do the
The
website,
website, I think
and
everybody
hopefully they'll
agrees.
pick 3.
Two
Or 2.
would be the guardrail, and
Yeah.
3 would be the building
Yep.
study.
Okay,
I can live with
Or
that.
vice versa, whichever.
Yeah.
Right.
And like Eric can say, you know what, I'd like to see so many feet and then come to us with that. And as you say, put a number to it. And then we can say, okay, when we cut his salt budget next year, but we put in 10,000 more, and not saying that, but we put 10,000 more in gutter. I don't know. But I think
Okay.
as a
You did
board,
say
I says as a board, we're responsible for public safety.
okay.
So on your table, I think, there are signable copies of those memos for the select board to sign. So if you're comfortable with that, you could do that tonight. We just need a quorum of the signatures. So we could get that off tomorrow to them. The one on the DPW study, the narrative does refer to recreation quite a bit, but at the end, it says the end product would be a scoping study of the potential reuse opportunities, estimated costs, and other factors. And so the end result is more broad than just for record.
Okay, and if we were
So in
awarded
other
that,
words,
we could be very specific when,
Yeah.
if that project started.
So my only point in bringing that up is if you're comfortable with that language in the narrative, I think it still allows for a broader scope if you're comfortable signing that tonight. Otherwise, because I'm not in a position to edit it and reprint it. So.
It's right here, and the only one Val, I'm sorry, is you've got the Vermont State Revolving Loan Fund that is pushing Jill all over to the edge of the table to jump. But I'm not signing that because we're gonna look into other things.
Right. Yeah, well, we
It says
tabled
it-
that.
Chair of the governing body,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna sign that. That's why I
Correct.
didn't. Okay. Okay,
Okay, it's 10 o'clock.
yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, there's other stuff
Sign the
here.
rest of your stuff.
Yeah.
Review- Okay, continue appointment or replacement of town offices. I think we can wait. We got
Oh,
three.
we can, yeah. I'll
Real
make a
quick.
motion-
Yeah, go ahead,
I'll
Michelle.
make a motion to appoint Bill Sayer to the planning commission, Bill Sayer to the Essex County Regional Planning as a delegate, and Carolyn Dash as street update coordinator.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions?
I
Peter?
think there's an update. Let's see the revolving loan fund committee. Carol Wells, Dan Wormy, and Fred Baser all agreed to be reappointed.
And then I'll move to appoint them.
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, all those, anybody questions?
Thanks, Amos.
See you.
I am at-
All those in favor of those, please say aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Staying? Jessica, I'm trying to read that.
That's okay. Jill's responding to Jessica's message.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
These all need to be.
No, just the ones we picked.
Review and approval of February 12th, February 26th, March 4th, March
I didn't even
11th,
look at
March
that.
25th, and April 1st,
I'll sign them all.
2024
That's fine.
meeting minutes.
I move to accept March 4th, March 11th, and March 25th.
Second.
Motion is second. I have a couple of corrections.
I said all my corrections.
Let
Oh,
me
I
get-
had a question. I did the attendance for the select board for the end of last year. And I noticed that when a select board member was absent, it's not in the minutes, so. I'm
Well, it's
just-
funny, it was on the ones I was just looking at.
Well, no, these are from July 1st to December 31st of 2023. There was 3 or 4 of them that only listed 4 people that attended, so I made the assumption that this
They were
person
there.
wasn't there, but it didn't list it,
Interesting. Okay.
so.
Yeah, because he said for sure Peter was absent.
Okay,
Okay, was he absent?
Valerie. Sorry. March 11th, the front page. After number 5, it says motion. Peter mad, a motion. She should
He
made,
does get
I
pretty
think I
angry.
missed that one.
yeah,
I missed that one.
okay. And it said motion after number 4, Joel made a motion to set the I was chair at that time and I can't make motions. I think I said I'd entertain a motion. I didn't say I made the motion.
Actually, you can make.
You can make motions. as-
Yeah, you can.
Okay, then you can leave
We
it.
normally-
Okay,
We normally.
you can leave it. And then last page of number 2. Doug says she expressed support, Patty King expressed her support for appointing of Doug Corkins as a lister. The are working on homestead decorations. I think it should say they. You get that one, page number 2 at the very bottom.
Yep.
I think that was all I had in that.
Wow.
And
I'm not signing the ones we didn't agree on.
I didn't realize what they were, so I just signed away.
And I do have one more somewhere and I can't find it, sorry. Just a second. About the road we were talking about, Francis Lane, Francis Drive. Where is that one?
This place.
Francis Place, sorry. There, feasibility study, oops, I'm reading Better Town report in there. TA report mixed up with it. Sorry, Valerie.
No problem. I also
It
want
said
to
that- Is that
mention
just-
that-
All I have to do is say about the one for, when we're going to the water line on Francis Place, it said Joel. Somebody help me here.
You said you
Believe
thought
that
it was owned by the town, the hydrant or something or other, is that?
I
the
said,
part?
Joel believes it is a private drive and a private water. And I just said, I know it's a private drive, but I'm not sure on private water. I'll send that to you tomorrow, Valerie. To make
Oh, that
the
sounds
meeting go
great.
along.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So.
No, that's
you
terrific.
said-
I do want to make one suggestion on the March 11th minutes. I think Joel and I were reappointed to the solid waste district that night too. That should be reflected.
Definitely.
And that's gotta be made before Thursday night, because we got our reorganizational meeting.
Right, I
Okay.
already sent in the form.
You did, okay.
Yep.
So, Michelle, you said what minutes I wanna circle them?
4, 11, and 25.
4, 11, and 25 in March, you don't, February 12th and 26th? You did. we
They're in
didn't do anything?
progress.
They're in progress. Okay, motion to approve the March 4th, 11th, and 25th meeting. Michelle's made a motion and
I second.
Ian seconded it. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, accounts payable, warrants, and a liquor license or tobacco license, speaker's got them in front of him? Or
One
somebody?
$157,520.28.
Okay. And any liquor, tobacco?
Yes,
We
we
do.
have Tillerman, first class, third class, and outside consumption liquor license, Hogback Mountain, first class and outside consumption, and South Mountain Tavern, first class, third class, and outside consumption. We do have conditions on South Mountain, they cannot serve alcohol on the porch after 10. The establishment must close by midnight with customers out, exception can be New Year's Eve, they can stay open till 1. And the overhead door must be closed by 10 if there is any music.
Michelle has a
I-
question about the new
The new
deck
deck.
towards
Yeah,
the
they
east.
were aware of it last year and it's listed.
That's
on
10
their-
o'clock too.
Well, it
also?
wasn't done last year though, so.
No, but it was listed on their liquor license because they planned on having it done, but then
Yeah.
she got sick and ended up in the hospital, so.
So,
we didn't
well,
get
my
it.
concern or question was, they have the stairs that come down, to the sidewalk, but they also have the door that goes in. Is there gonna be anything to prevent them from coming down off of the stairs with liquor?
This one or
Yeah.
this
And then either go to the front porch or come along the,
I
the
think,
I think they
sidewalk?
have, don't they have a side door there?
They do have a side door, I just wonder if that's a condition cause,
I believe the original plan that was presented to the design review commission was a gate that was gonna be at that.
Mm.
It's
It's just
that
last
entrance
control.
is only for accessibility purposes.
the stairs,
Correct.
yeah.
And that ramp going up. And I think in the original drawings that he presented, there was a gate there. to
Well, is
pre-
that-
To prevent just what you
Right,
said.
but is that a condition we need to put on there, that they have to have the gate up? And,
I think so,
closed
because
during-
because he doesn't have a gate there at the moment, I think.
Right,
it's
I was
good,
gonna say, I
It's gonna be
didn't see
very
a gate.
easy for someone standing at the end
To
to
just
hop
walk
off the steps,
away.
walk around. Now, I know it's a
Or
short
just to
distance.
walk
but
away.
Oh, you
that's
mean
good.
off the.
off the
Yes.
deck,
Off the
Yeah.
porch.
So
yeah, they need to
Make
have
it-
a security gate or whatever.
to make it clear, should we just say no outside consumption after 10 o'clock on the property?
No.
That would go to the porch.
I'm not
or-
We're
just
talking
worried
about
No.
going from one to the other. It's off the premises.
Yeah,
Yeah, cause that
it's essentially
deck
stepping
out
onto
back,
our sidewalk, walking down the sidewalk and off somewhere, or walking down to get to the other deck, because they
The
are, they
other
are
porch.
connected.
they aren't connected,
Right.
Alright,
because technically then it's open bottle.
Mm.
No alcohol allowed off the decks.
No alcohol allowed
And he
off the
should have,
decks,
well,
and both of them
technically
be
you
closed
should
by
have a
10,
security gate there.
right?
Yeah.
And closed by 10? Is that,
Well, the same thing is out front, the
Correct.
front porch, they can't.
which he's renovating now.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, you got any thoughts on that, Jessica?
Nope, sounds like good
Bruce is
logic to
there.
me. Whatever the rules
Okay.
are for the front should be the rules for the side.
Yeah.
So all those in favor of,
Wait,
whoops,
I'm gonna ask Bruce if he has any concerns.
oh, Bruce is still on, okay, I didn't see it.
Yeah,
Bruce, you got any concerns?
No, I think you have them covered, and yeah, the what applies in the front applies on the side.
Okay, and I know Eric trumped in about the sidewalks, but that's a different, that's not under this tonight, right?
No, they,
no, it doesn't apply to them. 'cause
Doesn't
they don't
apply to
go
them.
out on
The sidewalks, I know that email went
I think
around.
we'll
the other day.
discuss that in another
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay, all right, so accounts payable is done.
did you need a motion for those
Motion and second.
licenses?
The liquor licenses and
So
tobacco
moved.
license.
Second.
There's a motion and second by Ian, Beakers made the motion for the liquor license and tobacco license. Any more questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Okay. Select board roundtable, Ian, why don't we start with you?
I'm good.
Okay, Michelle?
I have some questions on the budget status report, but I'll talk to Val and Eric and whoever else I have
Alright.
questions.
Jessica?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay, Beaker?
I'm good.
All right, I just got a couple of, three things. Firehouse Drive, I went over the other day and looked where V-Tums did the repair with Eric and all them. And that is in direct line between two great big green, electrical panels. You know, the big one way down at the end, almost where that pile of dirt was. Oh, there's one down there, and then there's one about from here to the front counter. And then in between there, where they dug and found that pipe broke. So I think if we found.
Not broke.
Or not broke, empty. Somebody repaired that pipe, I understand, right, Eric, you said?
Yeah, cause the wire that was going from the light pole that was working, headed up to the light pole lights that weren't working. The wire was in the conduit about 10, 12 feet away from the light pole. In the conduit.
So it got pulled.
So the conduit either got broke. And the wire went to the light. And then when they repaired the conduit, they cut the wire, put the new piece of conduit on, and then pull a hole in the wire.
I guess I would just,
Or they did have enough wire and they just said the hell with it and didn't finish running it.
I think we gotta peel the onion a little more, just pressure Tanner, Nail and Green, say, it happened on, possibly in your watch. That, and check every day they do a log report, the foreman on the job does, what
Doesn't
they
mean
did.
they put it down there.
Huh?
Doesn't mean they put it down
Doesn't
there.
mean that, Michelle, but it was a couple
But is it-
$1,000 this
but-
has cost us.
But is it just them, or do we also need to go back to
Munson
Munson?
or,
Whoever put those two green pedestals, I think,
no, that infrastructure was all put in. They went on afterwards.
okay.
The infrastructure was put in by Weston.
The lights and the sidewalk and all that was done by West.
Okay,
So it would
Whoever
have
it
been the lines between the green things you're talking about are the transformers.
right.
They went on afterwards. The vaults are buried. The vault for the next one is buried. It's way down on the end. It
Okay.
just has an open hole in
So
it.
maybe it's just, we're gonna spend more money to try to get a little bit of money we're not gonna get.
I don't,
Maybe we just call it up
I
for a
don't
learning
see,
curve.
I don't see how you're gonna find anybody liable at this point.
Okay,
Nobody's gonna admit to
all
it
right,
anyway.
so understand that boy, Valerie, you had a lot to do with it. The sidewalk, project for Airport Drive is fully funded as of now. But it's not underwater, so maybe we'll get it all, right, Jill? And then, I attended the last school board meeting on the 26th. I think we got two good candidates gonna represent us. Both bring different views, but I thought they were both good. So that's all I have.
Did they appoint them that night?
They appointed them that night. I stayed until long enough, they appointed them, then I left. And then any other business for the good of the order, Val? Under correspondence, reports or correspondence received?
No, but we got jurisdictional opinion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did jump ahead. Sorry, Valerie. Town administrators report.
I think you covered some highlights that I would have mentioned about the grant, and I'm glad
I
that
was trying to
Sharon
pat you on the
mentioned.
back. Trying to pat you on the back, you got the grant, so.
And Sharon mentioned the upcoming tax deadline and also the dog license deadline and the school revote, school budget revote. Let's see, in terms of correspondences to draw attention, I just want to mention that there are copies online of the renewed annual inspection agreements with Steve Palmer for the town properties. So that's been done. And the Act 250 jurisdictional opinion was in our favor.
Yes.
That was more good news.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Any other business for the good of the order? Correspondence or anything? No.
Motion adjourned.
I have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Michelle second it. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Aye, we're out of here.
Okay.